Pirate I was dug up by Robin, Chapter 221-240. Chapter 221 Admiral Kizaru is stunned. Supernovas are stupid. Open black lens bracket 2/7 close black lens bracket. Whoosh, a dazzling golden light streaks across the sky, galloping straight towards the Sabayati Islands. Chi-chi, followed that golden light, followed by another equally fast light. It was blue-violet light. The golden light and the blue-violet electric light, one after the other, cut through the sky. The speed is beyond imagination. Just a blink of an eye. The two rays of light that were still far away in the sky had already swept over the islands of Sabayati. Finally came to the sky above the ruins of the auction house of the No. 1 mangrove. The dazzling golden light gradually subsided. A slender figure in a yellow and white striped suit was revealed. That's Marine Admiral Kizaru. The other side. The blue-purple electric light also stopped beating. Condensed the true body of Enel, who has the ability of Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit, standing in the air. That's. Look at the two figures that suddenly appeared in the sky. Trafalgar Law in the open space outside the auction site suddenly widened his eyes in horror. Cough cough. Not far away, the magician Hawkins struggled to get up from the ground. He had underestimated the power of that storm before. Even with the scarecrow's shelter, he, along with the scarecrow and the ground, was still blown away by the hockey storm. Fortunately, there is no danger of life. It's Admiral Kizaru and that thunder bastard. Magician Hawkins looked up at the sky. The calm face gradually rose. Marine Headquarters Admiral Kizaru, come so fast. Trafalgar Law murmured in shock. Tenryubito died. Marine Headquarters Admiral of course is back. Trafalgar Law didn't expect was that it came so fast. I didn't expect the second half of this big drama to start so soon. Marine Admiral and Hades Rayleigh. Plus that, a monster of a monster stronger than Rayleigh. The next 100-year-old drama, which is rare to see in 100 years, go. I think that I may be about to witness history. The shocked and horrified expression on Trafalgar Law's face was gradually replaced by excitement and excitement. Oh, this is so serious. What the hell happened here before? In the sky. Manifestation of Admiral Kizaru. Ruins of the auction house. Kizaru's eyelids jumped. Next moment. Admiral Kizaru's body froze. An excited and happy smile appeared on his face. Because he saw the only auction desk person who was still in good condition. Shoo, golden light shines. Under the gaze of Trafalgar Law and Hawking. Admiral Kizaru's body divided into countless particles of light, which flashed toward the auction table. The other side. Seeing Roland's Enel on the auction table, excitement and fanaticism appeared on his gloomy face. Chi-chi, electric light flickered. Thunder Enel and Flash Borsellino arrive at the auction in no particular order. Admiral Kizaru glanced at Enel on the other side in surprise. This Thunder Boy is really annoying. But now that the teacher is here, there is no need for me to make another move. If you still want to be aggressive, hee. Admiral Kizaru thought, and a wretched smile appeared on his face unconsciously. But the next second of Admiral Kizaru happened. Enel on the other side gave Admiral Kizaru a provocative look. Then, under Admiral Kizaru's dazed gaze, he knelt down on one knee in the direction of Roland. Shen Luolan, this subordinate is incompetent and failed to complete the task assigned by God, please punish. Enel said with a pious face. Ha ha. Look at this unexpected scene. Marine Admiral Kizaru Borsellino, completely stunned. What kind of situation is this? This Thunderboy calls Mr. Luo Lin. The god Thunderboy has been talking about the omnipotent god, turned out to be teacher. It turns out that there really is a god. Always God. I thought this kid was a show and amused me. Admiral Kizaru was completely stunned. Dare to feel that he has been busy these days in vain. I thought this Thunderboy was a ticking time bomb. Staying in Sabayati would be a threat to the little girls. Why he took a lot of effort to lead it to Akara Island. Unexpectedly, the flood washed over the Dragon King Temple, and the family did not recognize the family. Enel, who had beaten him for 3 days, turned out to be the teacher's servant. Carry out the mission of bodyguards for little girls. I've done these days is a disservice. Also stunned by the shock are Trafalgar Law and Hawkins in the distance. Although far apart, they couldn't really hear the conversation over there. But Enel's actions, and Admiral Kizaru's attitude, caught their eyes deeply. That thunder bastard, the powerful and monster-like Logia Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit, capable person, turned out to be that man's subordinate. What the hell is that man? He is already a monster among monsters, and now there is a monster Logia. Why have I never heard of it before? Magician Hawkins murmured in shock, his brain trembling. Even continuous deep breathing could not calm the shock in his heart. Hey, Hawkins bastard, compared to this, don't you think that Admiral Kizaru's attitude is a big problem? Trafalgar Law cried out. The excitement that had just risen on his face solidified and stiffened. The emotion called shock once again occupied his whole body and mind. Ling's whole person was like being struck by lightning, completely standing in place, motionless. What's the problem? Hawkins responded subconsciously. Finished speaking, he was equally stunned. There is a problem. Of course there is a big problem. Is Admiral Kizaru from Marine Headquarters a fake? Hawkins and Trafalgar Law have the same idea. Logically speaking, for Tenryubito's death, should be at once. The two monsters that directly or indirectly caused Tenryubito's death. But what's the matter now? Why is Admiral Kizaru, who is supposed to be hostile, mixed in such a harmonious group and looks like a group? Why did they not even mean to start a war with you, but fight, and why does Admiral Kizaru treat that young monster with the same respect as a student treats a teacher? Sure enough, that Admiral is a fake. Ha. Trafalgar Law and the magician Hawkins giggled together. Because of this unscientific scene before them, they are all stupid. Chapter 222 Mr. Roland. Rayleigh is stunned. Open black lens bracket 3/7 for subscription close black lens bracket. Mangrove No. 1, Sabayati Islands, ruins of the auction house. Seeing that he knelt down on one knee in front of Roland and called Roland the god Enel. Admiral Kizaru's eyes widened for a moment, his face dazed. Until this moment. Only then did Admiral Kizaru finally know that the omnipotent god in Enel's mouth was actually referring to his teacher. What a bummer this is, it's amazing. It was really a flood that washed the Dragon King Temple. Thanks to this period of time, nothing irreversible happened to the little girls. Otherwise, think about it. Admiral Kizaru was a shudder. Until a good moment passed. Admiral Kizaru finally recovered from this oolong incident. Admiral Kizaru just moved. It was to find that 3 breaths were locked on him. That's Rayleigh, Shaki, and Alice in a peaked cap. 3. Oh, today is really strange. Isn't this the former deputy captain of the Roger Pirates, Pluto Rayleigh? It's been 20 years since I haven't seen him, and it's still as scary as ever. Admiral Kizaru sensed Rayleigh's presence and pouted subconsciously. He spoke slowly in an extremely rude tone. With a big wave of his hand, Rayleigh guarded Shaki and his disciple Alice behind him imposingly. Confront Admiral Kizaru without flinching. You have to protect your own women and disciples. On this point, Rayleigh will not budge. Just when Rayleigh was about to stand up in front of Shaki and Alice, show his heroic temperament, and take the initiative to declare war on Admiral Kizaru. Next second, the unexpected happened again. Under the shocked gazes of Rayleigh, Shaki, Alice and the giant slave, Roland suddenly raised his right hand, and with a snap, it landed on the back of Admiral Kizaru's head. A slap, the famous Marine Headquarters' highest combat power almost fell to the ground. Speak well. Roland opened his mouth, his tone more severe. It wasn't all because of that rude tone of voice. Through Enel's description and own mind reading, Roland probably already understood the whole process of the matter. This oolong incident, Kizaru's good intentions are good intentions, but in the end, he did something wrong. In addition, Luo Lin once promised Zephyr on Chinfin Island to educate this disciple well. At this moment, his subordinates will naturally not be merciful. Mr. Luo Lin, you are too serious. Admiral Kizaru elementalization. This avoids the embarrassment of your head hitting the ground. The reappearance was already dozens of meters away. He covered the back of his head with one hand, bared his teeth and grinned, resisting the pain that went deep into the bone marrow. The power of Luo Lin's merciless armament, the penetrating power, went straight to his mind, and his tears were about to flow out of pain. Old teacher. When I heard the name blurted out from Admiral Kizaru's mouth. Octopus Hachi, Starfish Papagu. Kami and the giants are stupid. Enel in the Schadenfreude was shocked. Alice, the girl in the peaked cap, was stunned, her eyes were round, and her mouth was so big that she could fit a whole egg. Even Shaki and Rayleigh were stunned on the spot. Memories of the past came to mind one by one. They remembered. In the distant past. About 40 years ago, Vice Admiral Rollins seemed to have a little devil disciple on his ship. His name is Borsellino. Kizaru Borsellino. Sister Shaki, Mr. Kizaru is our partner and our own, so don't worry about anything. Looking at the stunned Shaki, the caring Robin stepped forward to explain. Oh, no, but, after so many years, it's really rare that Borsellino can recognize you as a teacher. A while, Shaki finally got rid of his inner shock and reorganized his language. Who do you think I am? This boy Borsellino, but I brought it up. Luo Lin raised his chin, not without pride. What's the matter, my little Alice? Even in a few decades, she will definitely recognize me as a teacher, right? Rayleigh spoke unconvinced and turned to look at the girl in the peaked cap. Agaga. The girl Alice, who was still in a state of extreme shock, didn't even hear Rayleigh's question clearly. She first shook her head, then nodded her head again. Her stance was very uncertain. Looking at Rayleigh, his face was suddenly covered with black lines. Since he met Luo Lin, he, the smartest disciple in the past, has become stupid. No, little Alice is scared by you now. Rayleigh said angrily. Ha ha ha. Roland couldn't help laughing. Shaki, Robin and others also pursed their lips and chuckled. It is not uncommon for the legendary hero Rayleigh to show such an expression. Teacher, since the little girls are all right, then I'll go first. Dozens of meters away. Admiral Kizaru, who sensed that Roland might continue beating, was about to run away. Wait, Borsellino, go back here if you have nothing to do with your business, Sengoku will let you go. Roland stopped Kizaru. What's the matter? Admiral Kizaru suddenly lost his mind. Roland raised his eyebrows, his face suddenly speechless. Mr. Kizaru, don't you know what's going on here? Vivi said in surprise. Isn't it just the teacher who demolished a population auction site? It's a small matter. Admiral Kizaru waved his hand indifferently. You'll be fine, little girls. Thank you Mr. Kizaru for your concern. Goodbye Mr. Kizaru. Nami thanked her and said goodbye quickly, wanting to send him off. Then I'll go first. Admiral Kizaru asked tentatively. Blue. At this moment, the ringing of a phone bug suddenly came from Admiral Kizaru's jacket pocket. Admiral Kizaru took out a black wiretapping phone bug from his left pocket. Moses for a long time. That's when I found out I got it wrong. An embarrassed smile, he took out another small telephone bug for special line contact from his inner pocket. I said, old man, did you get the wrong phone again? How many times have you said it? The black one is for eavesdropping. A thick male voice came from the other end of the phone bug. Cough, Zandao Wan, what's the matter? Admiral Kizaru coughed and resumed his usual tone of voice. Master, I'm on my way to the #1 mangrove tree. I saw a golden light just now. It should be you, Master. Zontaomaru asked. Ah. Kizaru responded. That's good, the matter of stopping the Hades rally will be handed over to the old man. That guy killed the world noble Tenryubito. Mr. Sengoku gave a death order and must not let him run away. Have you heard, old man, until Marshal Sengoku arrives, we must not let that Hades has run away. Zontaomaru said in a firm tone. Kizaru. Chapter 223 Admiral Kizaru. I'm too difficult open black lens bracket 4/7 close black lens bracket. Remember, old man, you must stop that. Pluto Rayleigh. Gah. Plus, the phone bug hangs up. Ruins dozens of meters away. Admiral Kizaru held the phone bug with one hand, and his body remained motionless as if he had been immobilized. Zontaomaru, tell me about you. When did you get in contact? I was just about to call. You are not a fool, and Kuzan. Admiral Kizaru's face is a little dark. The expression was even more bitter. Previously, after hearing the news of Sabayade's accident from Kuzan's mouth, the first thing he worried about was the teachers Luo Lin left on the island. The little girls. So I was in a hurry to arrive as soon as possible. Who knows, when Kuzan said something happened, he meant something happened to the world aristocrat Tenryubito. Tenryubito's death has something to do with him. I want to trick him into this muddy water. There is no doubt about it. Although the previous battle Taomaru said that Tenryubito was killed by the Pluto Rayleigh. But Admiral Kizaru, who knew the existence of Rollins, didn't even have to think about it, he knew that it must be because of Rollins. Call. Admiral Kizaru let out a long breath, with a wretched smile on his face, turned to look at everyone, and finally locked his eyes on Rayleigh. Anyway, Zontaomaru said that as long as he stops Rayleigh, it will be fine. That could not be better. Just don't go to the teacher. Anyone else will do. Admiral Kizaru thought to himself. Ha ha. Vivi and Nami, who wanted to fool Admiral Kizaru away, smiled awkwardly. He quickly hid behind Roland. Agaga, can't you escape? Shook her head when she heard the previous conversation between Admiral Kizaru and Zontaomaru. Don't be afraid, little Alice, there is a teacher. Rayleigh, who had a rare chance, waved his hand, showcasing a heroic character. Yeah, the teacher is the legendary Hades Rayleigh, and Mr. Roland. He turned out to be that. Admiral Kizaru's teacher, that. Admiral has to give Mr. Roland a face no matter what. Thinking of this, Alice, the girl in the peaked cap, slapped her fist with excitement. Rayleigh. The black lines on an old face became denser. What's wrong with this little girl's apprentice in my family? Why do you want to get involved with that bastard? This is your teacher, Rayleigh, and my performance. Hey, Rayleigh thought to himself. You can only think about it in your mind. Absolutely will not say it. After all, this kind of jealousy, if the word spreads, he will be put on hold. Hee hee. Just when Rayleigh was full of grudges like a grudge. Familiar, hee hee, laughter sounded in his ears, which made him even more scratching his head when he was already in a bad mood. What's so funny? Rayleigh glared at Roland for a moment. At this time, don't take it for a while. Courage, Rayleigh. Roland crossed the crowd and walked straight forward. Borsellino, I actually killed Tenryubito in this auction. Let's play. Roland grinned. Admiral Kizaru's expression suddenly collapsed. Teacher, the above order is only for me to stop Pluto Rayleigh. It's very difficult for me to do this. Admiral Kizaru said with an embarrassed expression. There is nothing to do, just do business as usual. I am the murderer who killed Tenryubito. You are Marine Admiral who came for Tenryubito's death. The relationship is very clear. You can do whatever you want, even if you do your best. I don't blame you. I said Mr. Roland. Admiral Kizaru's expression gradually became resentful. Could it be that you just want to take this opportunity to fix me? Come on. Admiral Kizaru guessed with a bitter mouth. That little expression like a grumpy woman. Vivi, Nami and other little girls couldn't help but scoff at Isho. Cough, don't think too much, Borsellino, that's the kind of person the teacher is. Roland said with a straight face. Otherwise, you can take this as the next class after the last Alabasta tutoring class. The last time was limited, so you probably didn't have enough time. Roland said seriously. Admiral Kizaru. Look, I knew it was like this. God, I'm not enjoying myself. Am really enjoying myself. To put it bluntly, you are not having enough fun. But inside he couldn't stop ranting. That has not been spit out in the past decades. Okay, since you have said so, teacher, then what reason does the disciple have to refuse? Only this time, I really have to do my best, Mr. Luolin. Admiral Kizaru's tone gradually became severe. The originally peaceful aura on his body also suddenly became fierce, releasing a terrifying sense of oppression. How dare you say that, Borsellino? Roland grinned Isho and took a sudden step. Boom, Conqueror Haki exploded. An instant, all the chi-chi that Admiral Kizaru had leaked was forced back. Wait, you two, don't talk to yourself, Tenryubito is the one who killed me. Seeing that his chance to show off was about to be snatched away by Roland, Rayleigh was in a hurry. If changed to before. He also wished that someone could take the initiative to stop the disaster for him, so that he could enjoy life in peace. But now it's different. Anyway, it's already been exposed, and he probably won't be able to stay here in Sabayati. Coupled with the appearance of Roland and the conflict of Conqueror, all of them revived his blood that had been silent for many years. Finally, there was an unintentional stimuli from Disciple Alice, and at this moment, Rayleigh was naturally eager to prove himself. Old Ray. Without waiting for Rayleigh to take a few steps. A cold little hand suddenly twisted his ear and pulled him. What are you doing, Shaki? Rayleigh was dissatisfied. All right, we all know that you are the famous Hades Rayleigh. Your past victories are enough to prove it, so let's take us first. Shaki comforted with sincerity. Every word grabbed Rayleigh's heart, and said that he felt very comfortable. Kizaru and Luolin's mentoring and apprentice reminiscence, what are you mixing? Your main task now is to escort us, the little girls who are powerless to leave Sabayati first. Shaki continued to fudge. Agaga, what Sister Shaki said is, Mr. Rayleigh, if you continue to linger, Marshal Marine is coming. If you can protect yourself, we will be miserable and will be locked in Impel Down. Girl Alice sensed Shaki's intentions, and hurriedly echoed the words. Mr. Rayleigh, please. Uncle Rayleigh. Mr. Rayleigh. Grandpa Ray. ... Robin, Vivi, Nami and other little girls who received Luolin's hint all stared at Rayleigh with big watery eyes. Feeling the adoring gazes from the young and lovely girls, Rayleigh suddenly became a little flirtatious. Well then, since the little girls have said so, the old man really has no way to refuse. Rayleigh nods his ass and agrees. Chapter 224 Luo's Horror. Battle Peach Maru Shock. Open black lens bracket 5/7 for subscription close black lens bracket. Little girls, go with the old man. Rayleigh waved his majestic hand and groaned loudly. Oh. Behind Rayleigh, Vivi, Nami, Koala, Alice and other little girls all raised their hands in unison to answer. That posture. Those who didn't know it thought it was the group of elementary school students who went on a spring outing. The movement in the ruins of the auction house, the two supernovas standing in the distance, Trafalgar Law and the magician Hawkins, naturally have a panoramic view. Although because of the distance, they couldn't hear what the people over there were saying. But just watching the expressions on the faces of the little girls changed. They are already insane. So, the expression on his face became more and more shocked. Now that this development is finally back on track, it looks like what we're going to witness next is that young monster and Admiral Kizaru. Magician Hawkins let out a long breath. But what was going on before that? Strange situation. Trafalgar Law's brows were still furrowed. He still couldn't forget the previous picture of Admiral Kizaru happily standing between Llewellyn and the girls. Obviously Marine Admiral Kizaru, who came for Tenryubito's death. Why did he get along well with the murderer who killed Tenryubito? Could it be that among those people, a certain person's ability is not enough to manipulate people's emotions, and even the highest combat power of the Marine headquarters has been affected? Trafalgar Law made a conjecture with a shocked look on his face. It was really a bit of a random guess by him. Because little lowly Going Joe is really a superpower who manipulates people's emotions. It's just that it wasn't because of Going Joe's superpowers. The real reason for this, even if Trafalgar Law broke his head, he would never guess the real reason. It started just as Trafalgar Law was cranky. The magician Hawkins on the side suddenly shouted loudly. With the loud noise of boom and hulala, there was a raging gust of wind from the sky and the earth. A strong wind blows. Trafalgar Law's footsteps unwittingly retreated, causing his attention to diverge. Stop until the famous sword ghost in his hand slammed into the ground. Trafalgar Law gritted his teeth, looked up with difficulty, and looked at the center of the storm. This was a startling discovery. The terrifying strong wind that made him retreat unconsciously from a distance, and it was only the two people in the ruins of the auction house. What power is that? Monsters. 1 and 2 are unimaginable monsters. Trafalgar Law murmured unconsciously. But the next second, the shock froze on Trafalgar Law's face. Instead, there was a trace of confusion. Because it's just a blink of an eye. The monster that had been firmly locked in his sight disappeared without a trace. This year's supernova, the monster with a reward of over 100 million, is terrible. Admiral Kizaru's characteristic whisper sounded without warning. Not in Trafalgar Law's ear. But the magician Hawking on the other side. Marine Admiral. Admiral Kizaru, who suddenly flashed to his side. A horrified look appeared on the face of the magician Hawkins. Devil. Not waiting for the scarecrow behind him to condense. The words, horrible, fell from Admiral Kizaru's mouth. One bite is horrible. The famous scene of a supernova with one foot is reproduced. Even if the trajectory of the event was greatly deviated due to the appearance of Rollins. But the magician Hawkins still couldn't dodge Admiral Kizaru's light speed kick. Boom boom boom, kicked by Admiral Kizaru at the speed of light. Even the big pirate with a bounty of 200 million is powerless to resist. The body is like a cannonball, flying out 2 or 3 pieces, Mangrove Island. I passed by all the way, I don't know how many buildings were smashed through. Watching Trafalgar Law gasps. Pirates, if you've seen enough of the drama, go home quickly. Roland's voice sounded. This time in Trafalgar Law's ear. To be precise, it was behind him. Trafalgar Law. Cold panic crept into his heart uncontrollably. Cold sweat instantly wet his whole body. A pale blue circle rapidly expanded. Trafalgar Law is almost subconsciously, unreservedly developing the limit field of his own surgical fruit ability. Swap positions with a stone on the adjacent mangrove island in an instant. Return to the hiding place of the comatose white bear Beppo and other companions. Hoo 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 hoo. Trafalgar Law gasped in horror. Lying down weakly on the soft belly of the sleeping white bear Beppo. Until a long time ago. His body was still shaking uncontrollably. If he took a step slower before, the consequences would be unimaginable. The other side. Oh, teacher, didn't you agree that one person is a supernova? Why did you let that person escape? Kizaru asked in confusion. That kid's ability is a bit interesting, maybe it will come in handy in the future, it's hard to do if it breaks. Roland said casually. That's what it is. Admiral Kizaru nodded. The body is instantly elementalized without warning. The amazing crash sound and the ferocious shock wave suddenly reappeared. Big cracks appeared in the land of number 1 Mangrove Island at the foot of Boom Rumble. It's really grown, and I even know about sneak attacks, but it's still a long way off. Roland grinned isho. Boom, a golden light flashed across the air. Slanted downward, lacing away. It fell on the root mangrove tree on the number 1 island with a kakaka, accompanied by an astonishing kaka sound. Huge mangrove broken. Collapsed with a bang. Old man. A loud roar full of shock suddenly sounded from the edge of the number 1 mangrove tree. Direct subordinate of Admiral Kizaru. Zan Taomaru, the captain of the Marine Headquarters Scientific Force, arrived with a double-sided tomahawk. Happened to witness the scene where Admiral Kizaru attacked Roland with the speed of light kick, but was kicked out by Roland instead. This kind of thing, how could it happen? That's Kizaru's light speed kick. Who can stop it? What kind of holy man is that man? Zan Taomaru, who has mushroom hair and only wears a red apron, can't help but send out 3 consecutive tortures that shock her soul. Chapter 225 Rayleigh Confession. He is your teacher. Open black lens bracket 6/7 close black lens bracket. East of the mangrove tree number 1 in the Sabayati Islands, leading to the connecting bridge of the number 2 area. From the Marine branch in Sabayati are fully armed. The area near the connecting bridge will be heavily guarded. Everyone, cheer me up. Even if that Pluto Rayleigh is stopped by Kizaru Admiral, we can't have any slack. This time is a major incident. Marine, who was in charge of the eastern area, shouted and cheered, mobilizing the emotions of the sailors. Go, Lord Colonel, Ming, Pluto Rayleigh, the legend has come. At this moment, a sea soldier holding a viewing glass and in charge of watching the 4 directions suddenly let out a shocking cry. Falling down with his loud cry. The guards guarding the entire eastern bridge area were in chaos. What did you say? The colonel in charge here raised his voice more than an octave. Pluto Rayleigh, it's really that. Silbus Rayleigh has appeared. Why that? Hades appeared here. Didn't it say that Kizaru Admiral has arrived? ... The sailors screamed in disbelief. Even if you have been mentally prepared before you come. But when the real face of the legendary Hades. Facing the legendary great pirate of the last era. These marine soldiers calm down. What the hell is going on here? Mr. Momomaru didn't say that Admiral has arrived. Hades Rayleigh ran here, so who is the one who is fighting Kizaru Admiral now? Colonel Marine raised his head suddenly, watching the astonishing collision in the distance that changed the world. His whole body is occupied by the shock and confusion of the appearance of the Hades Rayleigh. The sailors in front, the old man doesn't want to make a move, can you please take the initiative to get out of the way? Rayleigh asked with a smile. Damn, no matter what. Are you the Pluto or what? Don't look down on people too much, all of you will attack. Colonel Marine drew his saber from his waist and gave the order in a loud voice. Boom. Next second. The mighty and surging Conqueror Haki erupted from Rayleigh. Conqueror direction. The sailors who were responsible for guarding this area, one by one, all rolled their eyes, unable to fall into a coma. Even the branch colonel is no exception. Okay, little girls, you can go now. Gentleman Rayleigh turned around and made a gesture of please. Coupled with the attitude of Haki's terrifying audience before, he really has the demeanor of a reliable senior. But the smile on Rayleigh's face soon disappeared. Look over there, look over there. Wow, that gigantic mangrove fell. Brother Rolling and Mr. Kizaru are serious. Brother Rolling is amazing. ... Vivi, Nami and other little girls looked at the collapsed mangrove tree number 1 in the distance, and they all stared in shock. His attention was completely attracted by Roland, who was invisible to anyone over there. Completely blind to Rayleigh's dashing attitude. Even Alice in a cap is no exception. Hee. Watch this scene. Hades Rayleigh could not help but be lonely isho. Anyway, I'm just an old man nobody cares about. Rayleigh muttered sadly to himself. Lao lei, he was very handsome before. At this moment, a gentle voice suddenly sounded from Rayleigh's ear. Rayleigh in Ling's loneliness suddenly looked up. Shacky. Rayleigh looked at the red face in front of him with a moved face. The next moment, in the surprised and tender voices of the little girls, Rayleigh opened his big hands and hugged Shacky in front of him. Wow! Mr. Rayleigh and Sister Shacky. Mr. Rayleigh is amazing. Mr. Rayleigh is finally enlightened. ... The little girls giggled. The girl Alice, who witnessed Rayleigh and Shacky getting along these years, was even more excited and flushed. Go go go. Shacky, who had never received Rayleigh's affectionate embrace, couldn't help blushing at this moment. Quickly push Rayleigh away. And you, little girls, don't be stunned, let's go. Shacky's face paled. Yes. All the little girls stood at attention, and then continued the exciting running action. At this moment, near the number 1 mangrove tree, Roland, who counterattacked and kicked Admiral Kizaru out, looked to the east. Even if it is thousands of meters away. With Roland's ultimate observation hockey, naturally he can still perceive the movement over there. So the whole person was stunned. Hee hee. After a while, Roland couldn't help laughing. I can't believe that old boy Rayleigh has a day of enlightenment. It's really strange. Old man. Just when Roland was thinking about how much red envelope he should give to Rayleigh, a loud cry not far from the west woke Roland up. Dong dong dong, footsteps sounded like the earth was shaking. A tonnage of about 500, a little fat man wearing only a red apron strode up. Behind him, there are also 3 huge bears. On the Shichibukai tyrant bear is the prototype, the human weapon developed by the genius scientist Vegapunk, the pacifist. Damn, who the hell are you guys? The captain of the Marine Headquarters Science Unit arrives with the pacifists. Looking at Luo Lin standing in midair, Zan Taomaru's face suddenly flashed with extreme shock and disbelief. What the hell is going on here? Isn't Mr. Kizaru's opponent supposed to be Rayleigh, the Pluto? Why did he become this strange man? Where did the Rayleigh bastard go now? And before, maybe Mr. Kizaru is kicked away by this man. How could such a thing be possible? This man looks like he is only in his 20s or 30s. How could he have the power to rival Marine Headquarters Admiral? If it is true, then again how crazy is that? Just a monster among monsters. Zan Taomaru raised his head, his eyes fixed on Luo Lin's body without blinking. In his mind, it was as if the river was overturning the sea, setting off waves of waves called shock, slapping his spirit. Conceivable that the scene he witnessed earlier had a huge impact on his mind. Boy, are you Borsellino's disciple? In midair, Luo Lin recognized Zan Taomaru below and asked calmly. Ah. Zan Taomaru was stunned, shook his head subconsciously, and then nodded quickly. Although I'm only a direct subordinate of the old man, for me, the old man is like a teacher, so I will never let go of you who beat the old man. Zan Taomaru took off the double-sided battle axe behind him. Even if he knew that he was not the opponent's opponent, he still did not flinch. Pacifists, prepare. Zan Taomaru opened his mouth, ready to give an order. Stop, Zan Taomaru. Just then, a golden light suddenly rose into the sky where the mangrove number 1 collapsed. Old man. Zan Taomaru was stunned. Zan Taomaru, stop now, he is your master. Zan Taomaru. Alas. Chapter 226 Master. Zan Taomaru is stupid. Open black lens bracket 7/7 for order close black lens bracket. Stop, Zan Taomaru, don't be rude, this person is your teacher. The number 1 mangrove tree, a golden light rushed out. That's Admiral Kizaru. Immediately afterwards, the majestic voice from Admiral Kizaru, the little fat Zan Momomaru, who was about to order the pacifists to attack, was stunned for a moment. Master, Master. Nana, Nani? The little fat man Zantaomaru suddenly widened his eyes. It was like hearing the most incredible thing in the world. His huge body seemed to be petrified, froze in place and motionless. At this moment, the expression on his face is nothing but shock. No more. A shred of other emotions. This person is my teacher and the teacher of Mr. Kizaru. What a joke. This kind of thing. How is it possible? No matter how you look at it, the man in front of me is no older than me. However, but it is the teacher of the old man. Zantaomaru's mind and whole body were set off for a while, and the stormy waves were even more violent and turbulent than before. The whole person is stupid. The combination of countless light particles condenses the figure of Admiral Kizaru. Kaka, is the sound of Zantaomaru's stiff head turning like a machine. The corner of Zantaomaru's mouth curled into a reluctant smile, and looked at the Admiral teacher in front of him with a dull expression. Old man, you must be joking, right? You must be kidding me. Sure. Zantaomaru stammered and comforted himself. Even just that. It was like the words that made him suffer from a thunderbolt came from the teacher's mouth. Zantaomaru still couldn't accept it no matter what. It's too sudden. It's too far-fetched. How can he accept it for a while? The heart was so shocked that it was about to stop beating. Zantaomaru, do you think the old man's expression is joking? Admiral Kizaru had a rare serious expression on his face. Gah! The war peach pill was petrified again. After a while, Zantaomaru closed his eyes as if he had made a decision. Father, you've taken the wrong medicine when you went out today, so you're confused. Zantaomaru shouted as he opened his eyes. Clap clap clap, Admiral Kizaru's eyelids twitched. Facing the back of Zantaomaru's head, he slapped his head and covered his face with a meal cut. Zantaomaru, you are really capable, you dare to say that the old man is confused. Admiral Kizaru spoke in his usual voice. Okay, it hurts so much. On the ground. Zantaomaru clutched his head full of bags, and the tears of pain were about to flow out. Seeing this, Admiral Kizaru felt a lot better. Disciple, it's really not bad to use it for venting normally. I will feel pain, which means that this is not my dream, and the old man is not confused, then. After ruling out the option of drowsiness in the past, Zantaomaru fell into deep thought. Hey, Mr. Luo Lin, let me introduce, this is barely a disciple I taught, Zantaoan. Admiral Kizaru said to Roland with a smile. Not bad, the boy is very strong. Luo Lin stepped down step by step, and then stood in front of the contemplative Zantaomaru. Armament hockey, also good. Roland commented casually. Hey, that is, don't look at who taught it. Admiral Kizaru boasted. Pop, Admiral Kizaru got another slap on the back of the head, again nearly knocking him over. You gasped before you said you were fat. Your own armament might not be as powerful as this disciple. Roland squinted at Admiral Kizaru. Admiral Kizaru was immediately embarrassed. Rollins beat him. He fights Taomaru. Pop, Zantaomaru, what are you doing sitting there stupidly? Get up and call master. Kizaru Education Road. Clap, you beat me again as teacher Shiralin. Kizaru, who was slapped by Roland again, was suddenly full of resentment. This kid doesn't seem to be very smart from the beginning. What if you beat the child? What should you do if you beat the child stupid? The way that the old god Luo Lin is present. Borsellino burst into tears. He wanted to justify himself very much. Zantaomaru's naive personality had nothing to do with him, it was his own brain that was lacking. But after thinking about it, Admiral Kizaru still didn't dare to say it. Afraid that Luo Lin would find a chance and slap him again. On the ground. Looked stupidly at the double reed-like interaction between Luo Lin and Kizaru. After quite a while, he finally recovered. Roland, teacher. Zantaomaru murmured unconsciously in his mouth. A pair of small eyes suddenly opened wide, as if thinking of something. Roland, Vice Admiral Roland, The old man once said. The legend that disappeared. That. The legend that can be called Garp Vice Admiral. That. The hero. I remember it. Zontaomaru completely remembered. A certain lost legend that Admiral Kizaru once mentioned to him in Recruit. It seems that you have already reacted, Zontaomaru. That's good, I don't need to say anything more. Admiral Kizaru said with relief. Yes, yes. Zontaomaru nodded heavily. Immediately, he looked at Luo Lin in front of him with excitement. Hello, Master. At this moment, after realizing Roland's identity, in Zontaomaru's heart turned into excitement, beyond words. Today, I can actually see the existence of the legend. To see the legend that once disappeared reappear in the world. How lucky is this? What is even more fortunate is that this disappeared hero is still his teacher. This moment. Zontaomaru's heart was completely filled with excitement and joy. As for the mission, what is the Tenryubito event? What hinders the mission of Pluto Rayleigh? It has already been thrown out of the sky by him. Never again. Can't remember. His brain is huge. The brain is small. Can't hold too many things at once. That's why he always subconsciously slips his tongue. At this moment, his thoughts were already occupied by the teacher in front of the teacher who had reappeared after decades. Can't hold any more. Mr. Luo Lin, Zontaomaru still has a lot of shortcomings, please give me some pointers, can you? Admiral Kizaru asked with a smile. Roland nodded without hesitation. Of course you can. The corner of Admiral Kizaru's mouth suddenly turned into a smile. But wait until next time. It's your lesson time, Borsellino, and you're not trying to get away with that excuse. Roland squinted and smiled. Come back. Don't worry, I'm measured, and if you don't have something on you, it won't be easy to explain to Sengoku later, isn't it? Since that's the case, I'm welcome, Tiankong Yunjian. Sword, yes, I just got a recruiter recently. King, black knife unsheathed in autumn water. The shocking duel between the world's top fighting forces of Boom begins. The entire Sabayati Islands were shaken. Chapter 227 The Loneliness of Marshal Sengoku Open black lens bracket 8/7 burst liver order close black lens bracket. The earth and the sky are shaking together at this time. The Sabayati Islands, which are composed of 79 largest mangrove trees in the world, Alchiman mangroves, and the joints, have suffered the most terrifying impact in history. The atmosphere is broken and healed. The dazzling golden light shone brighter than the sun in the sky, and the terrified people on the ground couldn't open their eyes. Another extremely dazzling knife light split the sky. All over the islands of Sabayati, huge mangrove trees are constantly breaking and collapsing under the horrified eyes of people. This scene after another, as if the world is being destroyed. Escape. Monsters. Monsters have hit this island. I can't stay here any longer. If you don't leave, everyone will die. ... The entire island of Sabayati was plunged into chaos like never before. Countless ships rushed out from various ports and fled overseas. Under the cover of these ships, the Going Merry and the huge transport ship are naturally not so conspicuous, and they set sail smoothly. Boom! Over the mangrove island number 24 of the Sabayati Islands, there was a loud bang. A terrifying aura filled the air, causing the people in this area to involuntarily scream in horror. Captain Bonnie, why are you still eating? The sky is falling down outside. The big Han pirate in the overalls shouted with a look of shock and horror. What did you say the sky was falling? How come I didn't see it? Restaurant on the second floor. The third supernova in the Sabayati Islands with a reward of over 100 million, the big stomach girl Jewelry Bonnie, is still biting the pizza in her hands. Captain Bonnie, the two monsters have already hit our heads, if you're not careful. Seeing the unhurried appearance of his own captain, the bib pirate suddenly became anxious. Ha ha ha, don't worry, little ones, anyway. If you really can't escape, you might as well have a good meal before you die. Big stomach girl Jewelry Bonnie laughed. looked calm on the surface, but the trembling deep in her eyes revealed her true feelings. 1 and 2 are monsters. One is Marine Admiral, the other can't be Rayleigh, not the one from the other day. Thunder bastard, who is that? There are so many monsters in this sea this year. Ha ha. ... The shocking confrontation that took place over the islands of Sabayati lasted for a full hour. An hour later. The battle is over. The terrifying breath dissipated. The strong impact wind also disappeared. The sky cleared up again. Everything is as it was yesterday. It was as if nothing had happened. This is also true for the areas of Sabayati, where there are a large number of civilians. Because no matter how terrifying was the previous confrontation in the sky, but it never affected them in the slightest. Not all regions are so lucky, however. At this moment, if someone is standing high enough, looking down from above the clouds, it will be a shocking discovery. The Sabayati land of 79 trees has become pitted, following the mangrove island number 16 that disappeared under the god of Enel not long ago. Today's Sabayati land, another 9 areas have been lost. The number 1 red domain where the population auction is located. Mangrove number 8 where traffickers gather. In addition, there is number 2 Sabayati's islands are the most chaotic, and the area filled with the most darkness has since disappeared, officially removed from the map. Big events that happened on this island today are destined to shake the whole world. Although the mangrove tree is broken, it still exists tenaciously. A golden light fell from the sky. Landed in front of Momomaru, the man in the apron carrying a double-sided axe, and Admiral Kizaru's real body appeared. After an hour of intense fighting, Admiral Kizaru at the moment is not without embarrassment. Very different from before. His clothes were tattered, like a beggar. The wind can blow off some debris. On the outside of his body was blue and purple everywhere. The left eye was even more swollen, making the originally small eye become smaller and smaller, leaving only a slit. Master, that first master has already left? Zon Taomaru asked. Even after an hour has passed, the shock on his face still hasn't lightened much. Ah, it's finally gone. Admiral Kizaru exhaled. Master, I think, is that gentleman our enemy now? Zon Taomaru took a deep breath. Finally asked the most crucial question for him. The answer to this question depends on what you think, Zon Taomaru. Admiral Kizaru spoke quietly. Mr. Kizaru. Kizaru Admiral. Just then, Vice Admiral Maynard, who was stationed at Sabayati land, and another rear admiral who arrived from the headquarters stepped on the moon step. After seeing the embarrassed appearance of Admiral Kizaru at the moment, Maynard and Maynard's faces suddenly showed extremely shocked and unbelievable expressions. Mr. Kizaru, what happened before? Who caused your injury? Is there any other monster on this island besides that? Rayleigh, the Pluto, where is he now? Vice Admiral Maynard asked with a shocked face. Don't worry, he has been beaten by me. Admiral Kizaru said without blush. Just with that embarrassed look, it really doesn't have much convincing. Doubt becomes doubt. Both Maynard and Maynard would not embarrass Admiral's boss on the spot. Kizaru Admiral, Marshal Sengoku is now waiting for you at Mangrove number 64. Quote. Rear Admiral opening from Marine Headquarters. I see. Admiral Kizaru nodded. A golden light flashed. In an instant it disappeared. Only one breathless time before and after. Admiral Kizaru came to island number 64. Found Marine Marshal Sengoku on a high uplifted mountain of tree roots. It's too late, Borsellino, why don't you want to see me again? Marshal Sengoku heard footsteps behind him and asked without looking back. Mr. Sengoku, about this time. Don't report anything, you're not good at it, so sit down now, just chat. Marshal Sengoku patted the seat next to him. Admiral Kizaru was stunned for a while, but sat down according to his words. Probably don't want to embarrass Mr. Sengoku too much. Marshal Sengoku turned his head and was surprised when he saw Admiral Kizaru's embarrassed appearance. That guy, he's really ruthless. It should be, and I am the same, but I didn't show mercy because he was a teacher. Admiral Kizaru's righteous and dignified way. Hee, okay, don't pretend in front of me. Sengoku smiled reluctantly. After laughing, there is endless loneliness and sadness on his face. Even Admiral Kizaru has never seen Marshal Sengoku like this. A long silence followed. The fiery red sunset on the horizon is slowly sinking. Mr. Sengoku, it's getting late. I know, watch the sunset with me, maybe I won't have the chance in the future. Sengoku rode. Mr. Sengoku, what does this mean? During the day, Zephyr came back. Master Zephyr. Yeah, before I set off, Zephyr submitted a resignation report to me, saying that he was going back to his hometown, but I knew where he was going, and I approved it. The expression on Sengoku's face became more and more lonely. After Zephyr, Suru also submitted a transfer report, and I know what she meant, and... Having said this, Marshal Sengoku's voice choked. I really can't go back to the past. Sengoku's eyes were slightly red. Mr. Sengoku, if you think it's too difficult, why didn't you? Chapter 228 Admiral Dispute. Rayleigh and Juniors. Open black lens bracket 1/6 close black lens bracket. Not as good as anything. The afterglow of the fiery red sunset shone on Marshal Sengoku's face, reflecting the lonely old face into a hazy, unrealistic sight. No, nothing. Admiral Kizaru laughed and shook his head. When I didn't say it, but there is one thing I want to stress, no matter how did that guy Kuzan choose, I will never leave Marine. Admiral Kizaru spoke earnestly. Oh, this is really strange. Marshal Sengoku laughed. What do you mean is so hurtful, Mr. Sengoku? Admiral Kizaru aggrieved. Ah la la, Borsellino, all the way to hear you say I'm not talking bad. At this moment, a lazy voice suddenly sounded. Admiral Kuzan arrives by bicycle along the sea ice road. Kuzan, you have a face to appear in front of me. Admiral Kizaru suddenly stared. Ah la la, this is really embarrassing, Borsellino, tell me who the hell beat you up like this, and I'll go find a place for you. Admiral Kuzan said sincerely. On the surface, he is very polite. In fact, Kuzan secretly said in his heart, I'm glad. Even without being there to witness it. But looking at Kizaru's miserable state at the moment, and his sad and angry expression, Admiral Kuzan has probably figured it all out. He knew that his joking guess had come true. That god of Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit abilities. And the true owner of that going arc. 89, that's it. That's it. Thinking about how he wanted to rob others and give them away before, Admiral Kuzan couldn't help but be afraid. Isn't this looking for a fight by myself? It's my fault that I saw through everything in time. Admiral Kuzan secretly rejoiced. Whoosh, just as Admiral Kuzan was delighted at his wit, a golden ray suddenly flashed. The tire of his precious bicycle was punctured, and then it exploded in a cloud of water on the sea. The extreme cold of Kakaka spreads in an instant, which gave birth to huge waves, and the splashes of water all froze and fell to the ground. Alas, it's too much, Borsellino. Admiral Kuzan rode. Who is too much? Admiral Kizaru dissatisfied. I don't even know that. Really? Okay, you two have nothing to do. The majestic intervention of Marshal Sengoku. Borsellino and Kuzan, the two admirals were still teenagers as before, neither of them accepted the other's anger and walked away. If that guy is here. Marshal Sengoku unconsciously appeared in his mind. 40 years ago Luo Lin forced two rebellious teenagers to bow their heads to reconcile. If he's the marshal, no, even now, as long as he's here, the old picture will probably reappear. Even if those two rebellious teenagers were now Marine Headquarters Admiral. Sometimes I really envy you guy. The open sea is about dozens of miles away from the Sabayati Islands. Two ships, one large and one small, were driving aimlessly. The boat was full of laughter, and it was very lively. Koala, it turns out it's really you. After so many years, I don't even recognize you. Alice, the girl in the peaked cap, hugged Koala tightly, screaming and dancing with joy. I don't recognize you either, Alice. Koala is also happily hugging the slender waist of Alice in a peaked cap, her eyes slightly red. Aside. Vivi, Robin, Octopus Hachi and others all looked at the two who recognized each other in amazement. Fate is always a wonderful thing. When we met in the ruins of the auction house before, the peaked cap girl Alice and Koala just looked at each other. It was only after the appearance of Admiral that they had to focus on that enemy. Until now. They finally recognized each other, but 16 years ago, they were imprisoned by the same Tenryubido, and they reported to each other for warmth. 16 years ago. Fishman Tiger made a riot in Mariajoy, freeing thousands of slaves. Young Koala and Alice were among them. Just because the scene was too chaotic, the two unfortunately got separated. So far, the ends of the earth. Koala was helped by the Fishman pirates, and later joined the Revolutionary Army. As for the girl Alice, she was adopted by Shaki and became a member of Shaki's subordinates. After many years, the sisters who used to keep Worm in prison finally meet again. In this regard, Shaki, Robin and others are also happy for them. To being happy, it is inevitable to feel sad about their tragic past experiences. However, looking at the appearance of Koala and Alice, it seems that they have overcome the psychological obstacles of the year. Everyone. Treasures. Many treasures. Just then. Nami and little lolly-going Joe, who first boarded the large transport ship, Treasure Hunt, waved to their companions on the Mary with excited faces. Treasure. Hear the word treasure. Hans, extremely nervous, Rayleigh, who was so poor that he couldn't even buy wine, immediately rubbed his hands excitedly. Old Lay, aren't you? Shaki glanced sideways at Rayleigh. That guy is so rich now, I'm going to rob him of his wealth today and help my poor. Rayleigh said angrily. Everyone. To prevent Rayleigh from messing around. Shaki and others were also transferred from the small ship Mary to the large transport ship. The number 100 people that were already on board, plus the poor people brought from the number 1 auction house. Now, there are more than 200 people on this large transport ship. At this time, haired swordsman Lucio, who was originally in charge of guarding the ship, and the fishman young Nob, and others are listening with great interest to the giants about what happened at the auction. Especially when they heard the appearance of the legendary Hades Rayleigh, the black-haired swordsman and the fishman youth were all excited. Right at this time, Rayleigh on the boat jumped up and boarded the transport ship. Young fishman who saw the real appearance of Rayleigh, the king of Hades, did not care about anything else, and hurriedly stood up and stood in front of Rayleigh. Little devils, the two of you alone can't stop me, let's go. Rayleigh waved his hand. Rayleigh, sir. It's really Mr. Rayleigh. Haired swordsman Lucio and the fishman youth, Nob, all had expressions of joy on their faces, and looked at the Hades Rayleigh with excitement. You. Rayleigh narrowed his eyes to Vivi, convinced that he should, probably hadn't cheated on these two little bastards. After confirming this, Rayleigh gradually became more confident and looked at the kid blocking the road in front of him with dignity. Mr. Rayleigh, my elder is Samble. Fishman young Nobel Road. The teacher who taught me swordsmanship is Mu Lian. This is Kang Yan, teacher Mu Lian's former saber. The black-haired swordsman Lucio took off the fast sword Kang Yan from his waist, and excitedly handed it to Rayleigh for confirmation. Mu Lian, and Samble. Rayleigh's eyes gradually widened, and a happy smile appeared on his old face. Chapter 229 Pluto Rayleigh's natural enemy open black lens bracket 2/6 for subscription close black lens bracket. Mulian. Ensemble. Rayleigh looked at the black-haired swordsman and the fishman youth in front of him. The two familiar names were murmured involuntarily. Mulian. Samble. Gradually. A smile appeared on Rayleigh's old face. Laugh. How could he forget these two names? Captain Mulim and Fishman Samble, those were his friends who were born to death before. They were the crew members of their Roger pirates. Ha ha ha. Rayleigh couldn't stop laughing. Big hands clapped and patted on the shoulders of Fishman Youth Nob and black-haired swordsman Lucio. Okay, you are all good kids. Rayleigh said with emotion. Mr. Rayleigh, I have heard the legend about you for a long time. Fishman Young Nobel looked at Rayleigh with excitement. Yeah, Mr. Rayleigh, Mr. Mulian often mentions you, but I didn't expect the two of us to be lucky enough to see you today. The young face of the black-haired swordsman Lucio was also full of excitement. Okay, Mulian and Samble are all okay? Rayleigh asked with a smile. Well, the teacher and Grandpa Samble are all fine. The black-haired swordsman Lucio nodded. It's good to be alive, it's good to be alive. Rayleigh smiled happily. Yeah, it's good to be alive. Only when I live can I know how your Roger pirates tricked that bastard into the boat in the first place. A faint voice suddenly sounded in Rayleigh's ear. Hearing that familiar voice, the smile on Rayleigh's face suddenly stagnated. Sir. Senior. When I saw Roland behind Rayleigh. The expressions of excitement on the faces of the Fishman Young Nobel and the black-haired swordsman Lucio suddenly increased to a new level. The young swordsman Lucio even knelt down on his knees and bowed deeply towards Luo Lin. This is a thank you for Luo Lin's life-saving grace. It is also a thank you for Luo Lin's teaching and solving puzzles. At the same time, it is also a tribute to the teacher's teacher. Young man, what are you doing? What are you doing? Rayleigh was puzzled. Mr. Rayleigh, my seniors have saved my life and taught me a career. At the same time, he is. Speaking of which, the black-haired swordsman Lucio paused. Even if he didn't say it, Rayleigh could understand what he meant. After all, Mulian, the cadre of their Roger pirates, was originally a colonel under Luo Lin. It was once hostile to their Roger pirates. 36 years ago, after Roland disappeared inexplicably, Mulian defected from Marine in a rage, and finally came to their Roger pirates. By the way, I'm going to say the ugly thing in front of you. Rayleigh opened. Okay, you're ugly, you say it first. Roland replied with a smile. Rayleigh, me. Don't say Ha ha ha. Watching Rayleigh choked by Luo Lin's 3 words, he was speechless. The little girls next to them couldn't help laughing. Even Alice, a girl who is a loyal fan and disciple of Rayleigh, is no exception. Result, Rayleigh's old face became darker. Today, the number of times his face is black is much more than in the past year combined. Sure enough, this guy is my natural enemy. Born to beat me. Rayleigh stared at Roland with a bad look. Hearing Rayleigh's resentful voice, Luo Lin just spread his hands. Blame me. There was a sudden noise in the sky. Attracted the attention of the people on the deck. Going arc in the sky, which was shining with golden light in the sun, there was an uproar on the deck. Going made a boat. There are ships flying in the sky. Going did it. Unbelievable, there is a going spacecraft in this world. ... People who had never seen the world were talking about it all of a sudden. Chi-chi. Under the shocked gazes of people, the electric lights on the going arc flickered. Next second, ray of electric light fell and manifested in front of Luo Lin. God, fortunately not humiliated, find the arc. Respectful report from Enel. Roland nodded. In such a short period of time, the only person who could take the arc is Kuzan, who is also nearby. That kid didn't have a crooked mind, naturally it's better. Save Rollins from having to catch him. Get up, Shock Boy, as originally planned. Go to South Blue next. Roland Road. Yes. Enel should go down. Sir. Senior. Fishman Youth Nobel and black-haired swordsman Lucio shouted in unison. What's the matter with you? Senior, please let us do our best for you. The black-haired swordsman Lucio said sincerely. Luo Lin, it's just right, I still have a few little guys here. I'll lend it to you this time, just as a thank you. Shaki smiled and pointed to the faces of several strange young men and women on the nail plate. Those were Shaki's intelligence agents who stayed in the Sabayati Islands. Since I came out to avoid the limelight this time, I naturally brought it with me. As for what Shaki said, thank you. Luo Lin was stunned for a moment, and then she learned through mind reading that her gratitude was derived from Rayleigh's hug and confession not long ago. Shaki is a very smart woman. Naturally, he knew that the reason why an old stubborn like Rayleigh took the initiative to hug her was probably motivated by Roland. Roland couldn't help but be dumbfounded when he accidentally pierced the window paper between Rayleigh and Shaki. In that case, I'm welcome. Rollins responded. Mr. Roland, I want to follow you too. Me too. Please let me in. ... With Fishman Youth and black-haired swordsmen. The other races who were rescued by Luo Lin on the boat also spoke up one after another. Among them are some good players with special abilities. At the time of hiring, Luo Lin naturally would not refuse. After choosing plus Fishman Young Nob, swordsman Lucio and Shaki's intelligence agent. In the end, a total of 25 people boarded the going arc to support South Blue with Enel. The other side. Getting the permanent pointer to the Golden Lion Shaki Floating Sky Island group from Shaki, Roland did not delay any longer, and took Robin and others back to the Going Merry. Gravity control starts. The Going Merry soars into the sky. Alice, bye. Koala waved goodbye to Alice in a peaked cap on the transport ship. Well, goodbye Koala, goodbye Mr. Roland, goodbye everyone. The girl Alice said goodbye to everyone on the Going Merry with a pretty face. What's the matter, little Alice? If you want to go on an adventure with you, it's still too late. This time my sister won't stop you. As for the people on the boat, you don't have to worry about me and Lao Lei. Shaki saw through the girl's careful thoughts and persuaded. No. The girl Alice shook her head firmly. Everyone has something to do, it's my business, how can I leave it alone for fun? I can't always bother Miss Shaki and Teacher Rayleigh. Girl Alice lowered the brim of her hat, covering her pretty face with reluctance. You bastard, you know how to steal a little girl's heart all day long, and even my disciples won't let it go. Since you have done it, you must be responsible to the end, bastard. Rayleigh watched the Going Merry soar into the sky, and the resentment in his eyes gradually deepened. Chapter 230 The Big News That Shook the Sea. Open black lens bracket 3/6 for subscription. Close black lens bracket. 3 hours after the Sabayati Islands Event 3. The group headed by Luo Lin moved in 3 directions. Enel took the black-haired swordsman Lucio, Fishman Nob and others, and took the Going Arc to help the South Blue battlefield. Rayleigh, Shaki and the girl Alice 3 are responsible for escorting the other slaves on the ship back to their hometowns. Is nowhere to go or those who don't want to go back, and finally go to Alabasta with the 3 of Rayleigh 3. As for Rollins, after getting the permanent pointer where the Golden Lion Shaki is located, it is natural to go to the demolition expert Golden Lion for the first time. Soon it will be a 2-month appointment. The base city on the Alabasta side is almost complete. After completing the demolition plan of Sky Island, Luo Lin is finally ready to announce his return to the world. The next sea will not be calm anymore. On the other side, that Luo Lin and everyone acted independently, the headquarters of the World Economic News newspaper headed by the News King Morgans also entered a state of intense work. The entire newspaper office seemed to be going crazy, running at the fastest speed. Under the command of Albatross Morgans. One after another, reports of major events in the Sabayati Islands are freshly released. Finally, with the news bird, it spread to all parts of the world. Only one day before and after the event, the world economic news of Morgans is spread all over the sea. So, not surprisingly, when the big news of the islands of Sabayati spreads, the whole sea is shaken. Red Earth, Holy Land, Mariajoy. In a luxurious palace, the Gorosei 5 elders come together again. The atmosphere in the hall was as deadly as ever. An invisible terrifying aura filled it, making the air seem to freeze for it. Saint Roswald, can't go in now, the Gorosei 5 elders are in a meeting. Lord Roswald, please wait a moment. Let us report. At this moment, the guards screamed from outside the palace gate. Shut up, you humble mortals, I am the descendant of God, the supreme Tenryubido, and you mortals want to stop me. An arrogant voice sounded from outside the door. Bang bang, 2 gunshots. The 2 guards who were in charge of guarding outside the main hall fell down. Aged Tenryubido Roswald pushed the door aggressively in. Gorosei 5 elders, can you explain, what the hell is going on? Tenryubido Roswald held up a newspaper and shouted angrily. Charles, my son, my beloved son, why was he so cruelly killed? Rayleigh, the Pluto, have you caught him? I want him to live and die, and pay homage to the soul of Charles. Tell me, you have no. Catch the killer. The entire hall was surrounded by the hysterical screams of Tianlong Wade. Just for Roswald's uproar. The 5 supreme powers in the world are fundamentally connected, as if they had never heard of it. Tenryubido Roswald was furious and strode forward. Boom, however, as he descended the steps into the aura realm of the Gorosei 5 elders. The invisible pressure from the strong made Roswald, whose hands had no strength to tie the chicken, even knelt on the ground. The knees were bleeding profusely. Pluto Rayleigh, if it's really just a Rayleigh, it would be better. Finally, Lao Xing, the sword-wielding warrior, spoke up. Yeah, if it's just a mere Rayleigh. The blonde old star agrees. You, Gorosei 5 elders, what do you mean? Tenryubido Roswald resisted his fear and asked. Whoosh, a dagger flew out and plunged straight into the ground in front of Roswald. On the front end of the dagger, there is also a photo. Old photo. Open your eyes and take a good look, this bastard is the one who killed your son. The aristocratic curly-haired old star said coldly. This person is the murderer. The weight on Roswald lightened. Pull out the dagger in front of you, and remove the pierced photo. When he saw the young man in the Marine Vice Admiral costume with a bright smile on his face, Tenryubido Roswald suddenly widened his terrified and shocked eyes. Ah! Ah ah ah! Screams came out of Roswald's throat involuntarily. The memory of the past in Roswald's mind gradually recovered and became clear. He still clearly remembered the human tragedy that happened 36 years ago in Mariajoy, the holy place that was supposed to be the safest. That year, his father, Tenryubido of his lineage were all slaughtered by the young man in the photo. Only he who happened to be out of the house escaped. Such an unforgettable memory, how could he forget that this was the nightmare of his life? The devil is back. 36 years ago, he was my father, and now he is my son. What the hell is this? Could this devil's next target be me? Fear and despair shrouded Tenryubido Roswald's heart, making him even breathing hard. Ha, ha ha. Tenryubido Roswald's eyes turned white, and he fainted from fright. New World. The territory of the 4 Emperors' Red Hair, an uninhabited island. The 4 Emperors' red-haired pirates, who love banquets the most, are still preparing for the banquet at this time, in order to welcome a distinguished guest from afar. Ahahaha, Mahak, come, have a drink. The one-armed 4 Emperors' red-haired Shanks laughed and raised his glass, toasting Mahak, the world's largest swordsman with a huge black knife on his back. Redhead, did you specially send someone to call me here just to accompany you to drink? Hawkeye Mahawk spoke calmly. At the same time, it is also a toast to cooperate. Of course not. In fact, I invited you here to ask you, Mahawk, if you are interested in joining our Red Hair Pirates. The four emperors, the red-haired Shanks, looked forward to the invitation. If people in the world can see and hear this scene, they will be shocked beyond comparison. After all, if Hawkeye, the world's largest swordsman, really joins the redhead, then the entire sea will change dramatically. However, this invitation was enough to shock the sea, but the people of the red-haired pirates present were calm and did not care at all. Because in the past, this is not the first time it has happened. They've already been surprised. As for the result, I refuse. Hawkeye Mahawk spoke without hesitation. Ahahaha, I was rejected again. The four emperors were red-haired and laughed, and even if they were rejected, there was still no trace of depression. Ha 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 ha, the captain was rejected again. The red-haired main cadres also mocked their captain mercilessly. Captain, Captain. At this moment, the red-haired newcomer, Rockstar, with a red spiky head, ran up and shouted in shock. What's up, Rockstar? The little fat man lazily asked casually while biting the big flesh. Big event happened. Rockstar waved the newspaper in his hand, his face shocked. Pluto Rayleigh has appeared. Redhead, Nani. Chapter 231 Curious Redheads. Eagle Eyes Fighting Intent. Open black lens bracket 4/6 for order close black lens bracket. Captain Shanks, a big event has happened. Just as Laziru, Usopp, and even the redhead Shanks himself were laughing at the failure of yet another invitation. The newcomer to the red-haired pirates, Rockstar, suddenly ran in with a face full of shock, yelling. Wow, a wonderful hockey burst out from the red-haired Shanks and landed on the newcomer, Rox. It calmed his turbulent mood. Rox, how many times have I taught you? You are now a member of our red hair pirates, calm down. Usopp's earnest education. Ji Udong offered a reward of 90 million to the newcomer. Rox swallowed hard. Captain Shanks, Pluto Rayleigh has appeared. What? Pluto, it's that Pluto Rayleigh, he killed a Tenryubito in Sabayati. Nani? Listen to Rockstar's report. The four emperors, the red-haired Shanks, immediately stretched his neck. Even as the emperor of the sea, at this moment, he can no longer calm down. His face was full of shock and disbelief. Hey, Rox, did you make a mistake? That Rayleigh killed Tenryubito. It's unbelievable. The boss's former co-captain Rayleigh, the last time we saw him, he said he was retired. It made the old man Rayleigh couldn't help but reappear. Those Tenryubito is really hateful. Beckman, Usopp, Readaloud, etc. The cadres who had seen Rayleigh in Sabayati suddenly burst into an uproar. Captain, everyone, it's all true. It's in the newspapers. Rockstar waved the newspaper in his hand. Let me see. The cadres of the red-haired pirates all swarmed up and snatched the newspaper from Rockstar's hand. Fuck. Master Rayleigh is too fierce. Blow up Tenryubito with one punch. It's more than that, the whole Sabayati was almost destroyed by the old man. Usopp and the others all shouted in shock. Boss, look at it. The little fat man Lakilu brought the newspaper to the four emperors with red hair. The red-haired Shanks took the newspaper, frowning gradually. Boss, what's wrong with you? Are you worried about Mr. Rayleigh? Indeed, killing Tenryubito is a big taboo event in the world, and the old man is afraid that he will be wanted by Marine. Why don't we go to the park and pick up Mr. Rayleigh? The red-haired cadres suggested. No. The red-haired Shanks just shook his head calmly. Don't worry, Lei Fu is the legendary Hades. Red-haired Shanks grinned Isho. He has absolute confidence in his former deputy captain. Then boss, I'm more curious about him now. The red-haired Shanks pointed to half the back of the newspaper page. Who is this person? Even if it was just a photo in the newspaper, the red-haired Shanks could see the resentment, grief, anger, and excitement on Rayleigh's face at that time. In this world, who could make the Pluto Rayleigh reveal such a complex and contradictory expression? The red-haired Shanks was really curious. If it's an ex-partner, even Gabon, who often bickers with Rayleigh, wouldn't be so complicated. It's really suspicious. Red-haired co-captain Ben Beckman frowned thoughtfully. This person is. Looking at his friend's red-haired expression, even hawk-eyed Mahawk couldn't help being aroused by curiosity, and took the initiative to stick it in front of the red-haired. After seeing the half of the back in the newspaper, Hawkeye's sharp eagle eyes suddenly shrank. The whole body instinctively revealed a powerful and sharp sword intent. Nothing else, just the most instinctive reaction. Even if it's just such a blurry back that can't be seen clearly, Hawkeye instinctively gave birth to a sense. He knows. Has been chasing for the past few months. The mysterious great swordsman. Ever since the Windless Band apart, Hawkeye has finally realized how difficult it is to chase people. Several times, Ling's eagle eyes almost doubted his life. He just wanted to compete with the mysterious great swordsman and prove his own swordsmanship. Why is it so difficult? But because of repeated misses, Hawkeye's enthusiasm and expectation for this swordsmanship battle has only grown stronger. Rose up. As a result, the now stunned Light is looking at a blurred back, and can't help but burst out sword intent. Under the sudden burst of sword intent from Eagle Eye, Lazulu, Usopp and other cadres unconsciously took a few steps back. Looked at Mahawk with a shocked look on his face. The members who have only joined the pirates in recent years are subconsciously holding the weapons at hand and getting ready for battle. Don't be nervous, it's fine. Vice Captain Ben Beckman waved his hand to signal everyone to relax. Mahawk, it looks like you know this guy. Red-haired Shanks asked in surprise. Hawkeye Mahawk nodded calmly. This person is the great swordsman I've been looking for months. Red-haired cadres, alas. Mahawk, why haven't you had a drink yet? Go to Sabayati land. It's too late if you go now, it's estimated that people have already left. Hawkeye Mahawk stopped. Thinking that there is a high probability that he would still run in vain, Mahawk turned around silently and sat down again. Ha 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 ha, little ones, let's have a banquet, for the sea that is about to get lively. ... West Blue. Some peaceful village. From ancient times to the present, it still retains the daily routine of living and resting at sunrise. Simple folk customs. The only thing that can be considered extraordinary is probably only the family living in the outskirts of the village. There lived two old men. One is a normal human being. The other is a fish man. 20 years ago, the simple villagers of the village rescued the seriously injured at the seaside. They also settled in this village. It has been 20 years. In these 20 years, their ordinary and weak village has never been once plundered by pirates. The village also developed accordingly. No matter how simple the villagers are, in 20 years, it is naturally impossible for them to be ignorant. They know that the village has been able to maintain peace for 20 years because the Protector has been protecting them. At this moment, in this house belonging to the Protector, there are some unusual conversations that should not exist in this world. East wind. Touch. Redness. Bar. Chicken. Chapter 232 Whitebeard. Disgusting expression pack open black lens bracket 5/6 subscription close black lens bracket. East wind. Touch. Redness. Bar. Chicken. Samble, are you a fool? An old man in his 60s who was still in high spirits cursed loudly. Bastard Mulien, do you have to blame others for your stinky fights? Will you give in and give you money? Fishman with a white beard at the corners of his mouth refuted proudly. Okay, you two, stop arguing, let's continue this fun game of mahjong. The ordinary old man in the room said, "Yes, yes, who is such a genius to have invented this novel and interesting way of playing? For us old people, this is really the best tool to relieve boredom." The fourth old man exclaimed excitedly, "Ha ha ha, the inventor of this, mahjong, is my mentor. He is the most powerful person in the world." The old people in the village who had heard him talk about it more than once all nodded their heads. "Come on, let's continue. I already understand the basic rules. Even if it's you guys, I won't lose. It's okay to start over. Mulien, you should give the money first, you can't be rude." The old fish man insisted. The atmosphere was stalemate for a while. Dang dang, knocked on the door. "Grandpa Mulien, Grandpa Samble, I'm here to bring you wine and today's newspaper." A young girl about 16 walked in with a basket on her back. "Oh, here we come." The old man Mulien pushed the mahjong tile in front of him and directly cheated. "Grandpa Mulien, I heard that today's news seems to be very noisy. I think you should be very interested." The girl took out the newspaper and handed it to the old man who was staring at the wine bottle. "Where is the big news for me to see?" Mulien Captain's old eyes and BV narrowed. Bang, the next moment. The wine bottle in Mulien's hand exploded. Alcohol splashed. "Yeah." The girl snorted suddenly. "What are you doing, Mulien? You're scaring the little girl, isn't it just losing a game? If it's a big deal, I'll let you rely on it again." Fishman Samble said dissatisfied. However, when he saw the report in the newspaper in the girl's hand, Fishman Samble couldn't help but change his face suddenly. "Really? Hey, true or false, Deputy Lay? Deputy Lay actually killed Tenryubito." Fishman Samble looked at his old friend in shock. Captain Mulien, who is still ruffian even when he is old, is not aware of it. The big incident where the former vice captain killed Tenryubito had never moved him in the slightest. At this moment, his eyes, his body and mind, his whole mind were occupied by some inconspicuous corner of the newspaper. Even if it's been decades. Even if it's just a vague back. Even if it's just a few words of description. He knows. Still knows. "Grandpa Mulien, what's wrong with you?" Seeing the old man whose eyes suddenly turned red, the girl suddenly became worried and puzzled. "I knew that you would come back one day. I've been dragging this wreckage and waiting until now. I've finally waited for you, teacher." Ruffian Colonel Mulien, this moment is full of tears. New World. All Nations, Cake Island. 4 Emperor Thieves Base Camp. Quote. Of Cake Island, there was a hysterical scream. The sound was rumbling, like thunder. The echoes echoed across the entire Cake Island, making the people on the island silent. Extreme fear on his face. "It's over. Mom's eating disorder is coming again. How should this be? ... The cadres and ministers of all the thieves are like ants on a hot pan, rushing around in circles. Mom, the cake will be ready soon. Sit down and watch the news for a while. Mom, look, it's that bastard Rayleigh. That bastard Rayleigh killed Tenryubito in Sabayadi." Charlotte Montdor, a book fruit capable, waving a newspaper, trying to stop the rampage. Pluto, Rayleigh. Hearing this familiar name, it took a moment. Just when Montdor et al. Next moment. A more terrifying, strange sound erupted. "It's over, it can't be stopped. Mom is going to go crazy. Damn, isn't the cake ready yet? ... Isn't the special berry raw material over there in paradise not delivered yet? Damn Umit, how long will it be delayed? It's not just berries, the other dark forces supported by our Charlotte family, Lufield and the others have all delayed their tribute this month. Brother Peros, there seems to be something happened in the paradise. Boom, the 4 emperors run wild. New World, Wanokuni. The base camp of the 4 emperors Kaido of the Beasts, Onigashima. At this moment, the 4 emperors, Kaido of the Beasts, are still in a serious drunken state. Even the news of Hades' Rayleigh's return to the sea failed to sober him up. The one who is in charge of the affairs of the pirate group is naturally the first of the three disasters, the fire disaster. Brother Jin, there seems to be a problem with our arms business in Paradise recently. The fat, balloon-like plague queen said in a stern voice. I know. Blazing Embers nodded. Brother, what happened? Drought Jack, the younger brother of the three disasters, is puzzled. Island, disappeared. Flame Calamity said in a deep voice. The face under the mask was extremely serious, and the eyes were even more dangerous. Feeling the change in the aura of the elder brother Yan Zonjin, Drought's younger brother Jack couldn't help feeling cold. The island disappears. Jack, this is not the disappearance of one or two last time. According to the news from the Dark World, this time, including the dark forces controlled by our beast pirates behind the scenes, all the arrangements in the Paradise for many years have all collapsed. Yes. Faint path of the Plague Queen. In 3 days, the number of islands in the Lost Base has exceeded 100. There may be a real monster in the Paradise this time. Nani. ... Beasts are busy with each other because of the loss of Paradise. Whitebeard pirates, who are also the Emperor of the Sea, cannot retreat completely. The dark forces that are intertwined in this underground world also have their Whitebeard pirates behind them. It's just that compared to the huge losses of the beasts, the losses of the Whitebeard pirates are not too big. This is due to the iron rule set by the 4 Emperors Whitebeard that does not deal with people and unique products. The deck of the pirate ship Moby Dick. Dad, what's wrong with you? His father Whitebeard, after seeing the news, Marco was shocked. Marco has not seen this disgusting meme that Whitebeard is showing at the moment, at least for more than 20 years. The last time was when Roger Bastard poached Kazuki Odin, the captain of his own 2nd and 2nd Division. Dad, it's just that Bastard Rayleigh's showing up, no need for that. The captain of the 3rd Division, Jozu, was also shocked and puzzled. 4 sons. Whitebeard seemed unheard of. At this moment, his eyes were already drawn to the dreadful back in the corner of the newspaper. Bastard, I was just guessing, you really climbed out of hell. ... Chapter 233 Furious Doflamingo. The legend is here. The big event that took place in the Sabayati Islands. It shook the whole sea in just one day. It caused an uproar of countless people. Of course, most of the world's attention is on the legendary Rayleigh's comeback. Compared with the reappearance of Rayleigh, the right-hand Pluto in One Piece, King of Pirates, and the death of Tenryubito. Another incident at the population auction that day. Of his Cadre Diamante at Doflamingo's venue is not so shocking. It only occupies a small area of the newspaper. Even if someone could notice. It's just a joke after dinner. After all, compared to the big event that almost made Sabayati collapse. In the eyes of most people in the world, this absurd oolong incident can only be said to be funny. Few people can smell the seriousness behind this incident. Except the Don Quixote family as victims. New World. A country of love and passion and toys. Dressrosa. When the news of Diamante's death spread, the entire Dressrosa was shaken. One family is happy and the other is sad. Dressrosa Heights, sunflower fields born in the sun. Cyrus, a one-legged toy soldier, hopped through the flower field. Finally stopped in front of a humble tombstone. Scarlet, have you seen your killer? That Diamante is dead. I don't know who it is, but thank you very much. The one-legged toy soldier Cyrus' voice gradually became high-pitched and excited. Kneeling down toward the sky, thanking the benefactor in the distance. Sitting by the tombstone for an afternoon. The one-legged toy soldier gets up. Don't worry, Scarlet, Rebecca will be protected by me, it's still this country. Even if you fight this crippled body, you must overthrow Doflamingo's dark rule, absolutely. The one-legged toy soldier Cyrus spoke firmly. At the same time, Dressrosa Palace Heights. That belonged to the king was also in chaos at this time. State at Dressrosa gathered together. The roars and roars of Don Quixote's officers continued to be heard in the hall. What the hell is going on with Diamante? Why is Diamante dead? The top cadre Toripal, who was sticky all over his body as if his nose was covered in snot, roared. Lord Diamante, who the hell killed Lord Diamante? Gorgeous artistic old woman Jorah screams. It's not enough to kill Lord Diamante, but we are still auctioning off Lord Diamante's head on our site. I can't forgive it. I can't forgive it. Fighting fish man mixed race Dellinger bared his fangs and let out a roar. Bloodthirsty pupils vibrated with anger. Relating to the South Blue battle a week ago, it is very likely that the person who started the action was from the crocodile. Now the South Blue side is not all the crocodile's fighting power, and he still has allies in the dark. This matter must be told to the young master. Lord. Because of some tough guys, Senor Peak, wearing baby clothes and holding a pacifier, said solemnly. Sand crocodile, that damn crocodile, wants to oppose us for dozens of times. Toripal looked ferocious, and smashed the floor under his feet with one foot. Violet, haven't you reached out to Dover yet? Yes, not yet. Princess Dressrosa, who was sad on the surface, but full of joy in her heart, Violet shook her head. At this moment. South Blue Patra Island. In the past month, successive battles have brought this uninhabited island to the brink of collapse. Today, senior agents of the original Bakuro led by Shichibukai Crocodile, meted, again with some members of the Don Quixote family headed by Shichibukai Doflamingo. After the last collision. Even Crocodile has to admit. His Baroque Works Club is indeed more than a star and a half worse than Doflamingo's Don Quixote family. The two subordinates are not at the same level at all. Who has experienced the cruelty of the New World, Pika, the top cadre, is enough to crush the original Bakuro senior agents headed by Daz Bones. In terms of fruit ability, the cadres of the Don Quixote family are also senior agents who completely crushed him. The ton-pressed fruit of Mojave is the upper species of the light and heavy fruit of Valentine's Day. Gladius' explosive fruit is far more powerful than a 5 that can only shoot booger bombs. The strongest one Daz Persia's slashing fruit is also the inferior species of the opponent's maid's weapon fruit. What Doflamingo said back then, that Crocodile's Baroque Works was a shoddy version of their Don Quixote family, was not entirely unfounded. Unwilling Crocodile is, it cannot change the fact that his side has been completely defeated. A week ago, Crocodile led his subordinates out of the stage amid Doflamingo's ridicule. Now a week later, the situation is already different. Completely reversed. Looking at Doflamingo's gloomy face opposite. Crocodile's gloomy face finally turned clear. Goo ha ha ha. Crocodile laughed. What's the matter, Doflamingo bastard, why don't you talk? Maybe it's stupid. Speaking of which, I really admire you. Even after your subordinates died, you even took it to your own auction house for auction. You really don't let go of any value. Even I am ashamed of this. Crocodile sneered mercilessly. Shut up, you bloody sand crocodile. Pika, the stone fruit power user, screamed in anger. The earth suddenly rushed out of a stone pillar and swept towards Crocodile. Erosion cycle. Crocodile landed with one hand on the imposing stone pillar. The erosive force of the sand fruit instantly turns the solid stone pillar into a piece of sand. Yeah. Screamed and hurriedly withdrew her hands. This avoids the end of the whole body being sucked dry. Ji dong, a few mouthfuls of water. Pika's atrophied right arm finally swelled and returned to normal. Too deceiving. It's really deceiving. Dare to kill Lord Diamante. Even the body of Lord Diamante is not spared, so humiliating us. The Don Quixote officials in the room were extremely angry, and their eyes fell on the motionless Doflamingo. They knew that Doflamingo's inner anger was no less than theirs at the moment. The great hatred of the family can only be washed away with the blood of the enemy. Fur. Finally, Doflamingo, who remained silent the whole time, let out a nervous laugh. Boom! Conqueror Hockey exploded with his anger, causing Dazbones and others behind Crocodile to be stunned. Yo-hoo-hoo-hoo, Conqueror Hockey, the young people are getting more and more fierce recently. At this moment, a unique loud laughter came from the sea. Chapter 234 The Tragic Life of Golden Lion Open black lens bracket 2/5 for subscription close black lens bracket. Boom! The mighty Conqueror Hockey, mixed with anger, rushed out of Doflamingo's body. The terrifying spiritual coercion caused Galtino, Valentine and others behind Crocodile to look horrified, and their footsteps retreated unconsciously. Able to stay awake under the impact of Conqueror Hockey. Candle 3 Galtino, etc. is already quite good. If it was a few months ago. Except for Dazbones and the Shemale Bentham, the rest of them will inevitably fall under the impact of Conqueror for the first time. They have made a lot of progress compared to before. Conqueror Hockey, it's really annoying. Crocodile's grim eyes VV narrowed. 4. Crocodile who has experienced Roland's ultimate Conqueror crush. Doflamingo's Conqueror can't be compared to it at all, it's like a drizzle, and it's weak. The Conqueror's shock from Doflamingo, but it reminded him of the unbearable past, the fear of being dominated by Roland's Hockey. Naturally, his face wasn't too good looking. Yo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Just then, a unique laughter suddenly came from above the sea, attracting the attention of both sides of the coast. Someone is running at sea. Clay's eyes widened in shock. What the hell is that? Candle 3 was shocked. Could it be their reinforcements again? Uneasy Valentine's Day. Not right. Crocodile's eyes gradually narrowed, and the curvature of the corners of his mouth gradually expanded. That's our reinforcements. On the other side, Pika, Gladius, Lau and others from the Don Quixote family also looked at the figure running on the sea with shock. Yo-hoo-hoo, it turns out to be Hockey of Conqueror, the young people are getting more and more powerful recently. Under the shocked gaze of the crowd, the light figure on the sea leapt high. Swipe and arc in midair. The end, the lightweight landed on the two largest Shichibukai Vice Admiral. When I saw that, the terrifying gesture of death with nothing but bones. No matter what. Was Crocodile or Doflamingo on the other side, everyone was either shocked, or their eyes widened in horror. Skulls. Living skeletons. Ghost ah. Bentham and Valentine's Day shouted together. What the hell is that? A moving skeleton. Ghost ah. Buffalo and Yi on the other side screamed in unison. I'm sorry, I am dead and only a handful of bones are left, and Brooke, who is going to return from the Yellow Spring, is also dead with only bones left. Brooke bowed to all the gentlemen present. Brew, Graham. Crocodile's shocked eyes widened, and he murmured subconsciously. That peculiar gesture. Dazbones was equally shocked. Legend. The legend has appeared. Candle 3 screamed. How could it be him? That peculiar gesture, there is no doubt that it is that person. But, why did this person appear here? One of the legends, why are the crew of One Piece, King of Pirates here? Other side, the Pikas of the Don Quixote family also recognized Brooke's legendary identity, and they all shouted in shock. Boom boom boom, just as everyone in Don Quixote was still immersed in the shock of the crew of One Piece, King of Pirates appearing. Suddenly, there was a loud bang on the other side of Patra Island. Giant appeared. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 giants emerged from the sea. Ah. And the Sea Kings. Why the Sea Kings? Ah. Stationed there, the South Blue Dark Forces in preparation for the battle, and the large number of pirates they recruited with money, the bounty hunters screamed in horror. They wanted to do it all in one go. The remaining 3,000 men under Sabo and Crocodile today. However, the plan failed to keep up with the changes. The sea kings that suddenly appeared from the sea were swallowed up in an instant, destroying their fleet. And the 4 giants who broke out of the sea with the sea kings caused huge losses to them on the shore. The situation is beyond their control. Goo ha ha ha. Crocodile's mouth curled into a smug smile. Now is our time. Eroding samsara. Moat slash. Shemale fist. Rubber rubber. Machine gun. One big 3000 great thousand world. Underscore. At this moment. The great fairway sky. The Going Merry sailed smoothly through the clouds. Follow the direction of the permanent pointer and sail straight to the destination. 3 days later the Going Merry passed a thick cloud. The front suddenly became brighter. At the same time, a huge floating sky island group appeared in the sight of everyone on board. Sky Island that exists on the thick island cloud like Burka. Nor is it the city of Jaya Island going, which is washed up to 10,000 meters by the ocean current. This is a real floating sky island. The islands floating in the sky, scattered high and low, form this magnificent floating sky island group. There are mountains, water and rivers on it. There are beautiful red maple forests. There are also remnants of ancient houses. There are also a variety of strange and special beast creatures. There are scenes of bloody fighting scenes. The law of nature of the law of the jungle is fully explained here. The world of pirates is full of strange things. Sky Island above 10,000 meters, and the magnificent Fishman Island under the sea. But similar to this floating sky island group, it can no longer be simply described by the magic of nature. It completely ignores gravity and is not affected by gravity. It is totally unreasonable to let Newton know that it is estimated that he can overturn the coffin board. However, in this pirate world, no reason is the biggest reason. Sky Island group that is now appearing in front of Luolin and a group of little girls. It is not a natural creation, but because of a special devil fruit ability, the spectacle here is created. Paramesha fluttering fruit ability, the former captain of the Flying Pirates, the Flying Pirate Golden Lion Shiki. Only the demolition fruit ability of Golden Lion Shiki can create such a magnificent floating islands. Tisk tisk. Look at this magnificent floating sky island group in front of you. Even Roland couldn't help but be amazed. At the same time, I couldn't help but think of the owner here, Golden Lion Shiki. Throughout his life, it is simply a tragic history. Golden Lion Shiki, this is a man who has been tragic throughout his life. Chapter 235 The Ominous Premonition of Golden Lion Open Black Lens Bracket 3/5 for subscription Close Black Lens Bracket. The sky is vaster than the sea. A beautiful island group like a fairyland on earth floats above the sky. There are mountains, water and rivers. Is a more powerful waterfall, floating in an extremely unnatural posture. This is the secret base of Golden Lion Shiki, the legendary great pirate who has been hiding for 20 years. By the eternal pointer from Shaki. Luo Lin finally found the hiding place of this demolition expert. Wow! After seeing the floating sky island group suspended in the sky ahead. All the little girls on the Going Merry had beautiful eyes, and they couldn't help but be amazed. So far, little girls followed Luo Lin and had seen many magical things along the way. Even the sky island at a height of 10,000 meters has been there. However, at this moment, they are still impressed by the beauty of this floating sky island group. At a glance. Spring, summer, autumn and winter, the 4 seasons stand side by side. The beautiful cherry blossom trees, the large red maple forest, the clear pool water, the ancient ruins. All of them are no longer stirring the nerves of the little girls. This is the legendary flying pirate, the floating sky island of Golden Lion Shiki. It really is better to see it once you hear it. Robin sighed subconsciously. According to the information of our Revolutionary Army, Golden Lion Shiki did not completely disappear, and he was also involved in many pirate groups on the Great Route secretly. There are also many of his properties on the earth, and he has accumulated a lot of financial resources. According to our inference, he may be planning some huge conspiracy, which may subvert the whole world. Koala frowned, with a worried look on her pretty face. Koala, don't worry, whatever. What conspiracy does this legendary flying pirate have? It's useless now, because we're here. Vivi smiled brightly. Yeah, this time I'll definitely empty out that old lion's 20-year savings, right, brother Rolling? Nami looked at Roland with a look of hope. As the treasurer of the WA organization, all Nami's thoughts are naturally how to fill her own coffers. Was in East Blue before, she could only rely on abduction by being alone. Now it is very different. Under the influence of Luo Lin, Nami has successfully evolved from a small thief cat to a big thief tiger. Even if the other party is the legendary great pirate from decades ago, they can still grab it, and there is no fear at all. Seeing Nami's high-spirited appearance, Luo Lin just shook his head. Memories of Golden Lion Shiki come to mind. Of this legendary flying pirate is indeed a bitter history. A capital, miserable, character ran through his life. Even Luo Lin couldn't help but want to sigh for him and observe 3 minutes of silence. 40 or 50 years ago. As a super rookie in the sea, Golden Lion Shiki was invited by the Rocks Pirates, the master of the sea. Golden Lion Shiki, who has the ability of the fluffy fruit that he considers invincible, is naturally reluctant to join. Then Golden Lion Shiki got the first beating in his life. Had to succumb to the power of the overlord Luo Bu. But after joining the Rocks Pirates, Golden Lion Shiki also ushered in a peak of his own. With a strong strength, he quickly established his own flying army, and it was called a Wind and Water Riser. That was one of the few highlights of Golden Lion. Until he met Roland. Then I met the Roger Pirates. The highlights of Golden Lion Shiki are off. 8 years later, Golden Lion Shiki was beaten alternately by Roland, Garp and Roger Pirates. This low point in life continued until the Battle of the Island of the Gods 36 years ago. After the Battle of the Island of Gods, the Master of the Sea, Rocks, died. The Rocks Pirates fell apart. The commanders of the major legions fled and died. The most powerful Whitebeard left alone. The Rocks' most trusted First Army commander, John, absconded with money and lost his heart. Lot Linlin climate unfinished. Therefore, Golden Lion Shiki became the biggest beneficiary after the war. Death of the Overlord Rocks, Golden Lion Shiki relied on his heroic means to win over people's hearts and inherited most of Rocks' legacy. The rise of his flying army, transformed into his own fleet of flying pirates. Golden Lion Shiki's life also ushered in the second highlight moment. Especially after the Mariajoy incident, which made Golden Lion grit his teeth and wake up in the middle of the night with a startled Roland disappears. Golden Lion Shiki's life is getting more and more complacent. In the limelight. Even the Roger Pirates were completely suppressed by him for a while. This situation continued until 25 years ago. The Battle of Atwater changed everything. The battle that attracted the attention of the world. Golden Lion took all the advantages and surrounded the Roger Pirates with an invincible fleet. In the end, it was because of a sudden storm that led to his pirate fleet almost wiped out. And he himself was inserted into the middle of his head by the flying rudder during the chaos, and became a funny cock. Survived by luck, but later learned of the arrest of One Piece King of Pirates Roger. Golden Lion with a hot head was unexpected, and attacked the Marine headquarters alone. In the end, the two legendary figures of Marine, Garp and Sengoku, were defeated and imprisoned in the deep-sea prison Impel Down. 2 years later, Golden Lion became the first pirate in Impel Down's history to escape from prison at the cost of a pair of feet. It has since disappeared into legend. 20 years later, the name of the flying pirate Golden Lion Shiki has hardly been heard on the sea. A generation of heroic kings, fallen. Life has always been ups and downs. Just that the ups and downs of the Golden Lion are slightly larger than ordinary people. Even more saddened. But that okay. Because Roland is here. So this time his tragic fate will usher in a change. On the deck of the Going Merry, Roland grinned with a bright smile. Control the boat to the floating Sky Island community below. At the same time, over a certain sea area on the Great Route, a huge yellow golden lion-head pirate ship, defying gravity, soars in the sky. Yellow golden lion ship deck. An old steering wheel on his head, the old man with blonde hair as lush as a lion's mane shuddered involuntarily. An inexplicable foreboding suddenly appeared in his heart. His brows furrowed deeply unconsciously. The old man, Shashasha, frantically crumpled the newspaper in his hand, and then chopped it into countless pieces. Damn Rayleigh, I am annoyed to see your face. Golden Lion Shaki spat in disgust. Chapter 236 The Golden Lion has fallen. Shaki is back. Crash. The clear bottomless lake ripples in circles. A group of mutant piranhas with sharp teeth resembling locusts. Wherever it goes, even large sea beasts can't escape being turned into bones. The mantis catches the cicada, the oriole is behind. After the mutant piranha satiated, a strange big fish that had also gone through the mutant sprang out like a dragon. One bite is a half-dead piranha as a snack. Still dissatisfied, the strange big fish aimed at the lakeside hundreds of meters away, a pair of small blood-red eyes full of cruelty. There, a group of cute little girls in all kinds of bold swimsuits are playing happily. Laughter and laughter continued. For, it's a predator, it's an irresistible temptation. However, after hesitating again and again, the strange big fish was out of instinctual fear. In the end, he gave up the goal that was about to come to his mouth. Even if it mutated into a ferocious monster that only knew how to kill under the botanical medicine, at this moment, it would not dare to approach that area at all. Because the instinct of its body tells it that there is a god. Brother Rolling, come down and play too. Vivi in a sky blue swimsuit happily waved to Roland who was sunbathing on the shore. Tutor. Uncle. Koala and Robin, who were also wearing only a bold swimsuit, both held Roland's hands. Okay. Roland's helpless issue. I had to temporarily quit the state of salted fish basking in the sun and walked into the clear lake. So, including the ferocious monsters and piranhas, all the mutant creatures in the lake fled along the underground channel as if they were going mad. The surface of the river boiled for a moment. What followed was complete silence. Did anything happen before? Vivi wrinkled her nose. No, nothing happened. Roland rubbed Vivi's wet hair with his big hands. Look, brother Rolling, Vivi. Nami on the side suddenly picked up a handful of cold lake water and splashed it on Roland and Vivi. Yeah. Vivi snorted softly. Panicked, his entire body was attached to Roland. The steamed buns were spread out into flatbreads. Wait for a response. Vivi's pretty face flew up to a few gorgeous red clouds. A small heart is beating wildly. Not daring to look at Luo Lin again, he shyly stomped his feet, and turned to fight back at Nami. Luo Lin, who had nothing to do, lay on his back on the lake and continued to steal for half a day. See you. Koala and Robin looked at each other, helpless issue. The uncle teacher is all good. Just, sometimes it's too salty. Not active at all. Obviously, as long as you take the initiative a little bit. There can be stories to tell. Robin put his hands on his hips, and sighed softly as he watched leisurely floating on the lake. At this moment, boom rumble, the ground suddenly trembled violently. Southeast, northeast and due east, the dense virgin forest fell in pieces, splashing dust all over the sky. Soon. Southeast, a huge mutant land octopus first appeared in the sight of Luo Lin and the little girls. Immediately after that, there was a blue tiger. There was a rapid and sharp sound of breaking wind in the air. The wings behind the vibration of a huge mutant flying mantis with a body length of more than 3 meters. Swiftly approached from afar. As the huge forelimbs that were as sharp as a scythe waved, the towering giant tree was easily cut off like a piece of paper. You can see its sharpness. Roar. The earth-shattering bear roar sound waves spread out, blowing up the fallen leaves. The behemoth facing due east finally appeared and rushed to this ancient ruins battlefield. It was a black and white one-eyed long-handed bear. Land octopus, blue tiger, flying mantis and one-eyed long-handed bear. 4 mutant beasts exuding violent aura met here. Unexpectedly, a fierce battle was launched to determine the kingship of this forest. Wow. Oh. Of the 4 beasts exuding a violent slaughter atmosphere also broke the quiet and beautiful atmosphere by the lake. Vivi in the fight, Nami and the little lowly going, Jo-Chi, screamed and hugged each other subconsciously. The little lowly going Jo, who was squeezed in the middle, was almost out of breath. Tutor mentor. Koala cried out. The animals look strange. Robin also frowned. On the lake. Roland opened his eyes. The rare leisurely life was disturbed, and Llewellyn's mood was suddenly a little unpleasant. The world fell silent as he opened his eyes. Not far from the lake shore. The ferocious beast overlords gathered from all over the forest suddenly widened their blood-red eyes in unison. The pupils that were originally full of cruelty, now there is only fear. Poochie. Chi-Chi. Next moment. Blood splattered and sprayed. Land octopus, the blue tiger, the flying mantis and the one-eyed long-handed bear, the 4 major beasts that dominate the island, their huge bodies disintegrated and shattered without warning. Blood stained the earth. That guy Shiki is not very talented, but he is very crooked. A lot, but relying on these inferior creatures thinking about conquering the world is too naive. Roland grinned. You're absolutely depraved, Shiki. ... At the same time. Floating Sky Island Group, the largest winter island. Deep in the luxurious palace complex. Headed by Indigo detected the vital signs of the simultaneous demise of the 4 beast overlords. There was an uproar in the laboratory. Indigo, the terrestrial octopus, the blue tiger, the flying mantis and the one-eyed long-handed bear all died on the island. Reported to the clown, in a white coat. Puff puff puff, like giving up footsteps sounded. Loyal, Indigo, the only cadre who accompanied Golden Lion Shiki through the era of the great pirates, turned around carelessly. Calcul, just a few experimental subjects are gone. With so many experimental animals on the island, there are still a lot of animals stronger than the ones on the island. Indigo waved his hands calmly. But only half an hour later. Lord Indigo, the beast overlord on the island is dead. Ha ha. Indigo with clown makeup was dumbfounded. 2 hours later. Lord Indigo, Island. Another 3 hours 3. Lord Indigo, Mishima. A day later. Lord Indigo, our experimental animals have almost been lost, and only some remain on this island. Another moment. Lord Indigo. What's the matter? Indigo's eyes were red, and he yelled irritably. Shish, Shiki-sama is back. Indigo. Fuck. ... Chapter 237 Confessions of Actions of Little Girls Open black lens bracket 5/5 for subscription close black lens bracket. Gia ha ha ha. A giant yellow golden lion-headed spaceship streaks across the sky. Straight towards the large winter island in the center of the floating Sky Island group. Head of the yellow golden lion, there was a old lion, arrogant laughter. The loud voice shook the snow in the sky. All the pirate partners on Ling's deck couldn't help but look solemn. As expected of Shiki Boss. The legendary flying pirate really deserves its reputation. Boss Shiki is still the same hockey as always, the sword is not old. Sure enough, if you follow Shiki's boss, it will be impossible to dominate the world in the future. ... On the deck, weak pirates from all over the world, dressed in different shapes, praised them one after another. Listen to the flattery of the pirates. On the Golden Lion's head, the corner of the mouth of the flying pirate Golden Lion's smile widened, and his mood was extremely happy. Gia ha ha ha, little ones, come with me, the banquet has already been prepared, let's discuss the plan to seize the world. Golden Lion Shiki opened his mouth with a big laugh. The fluttering fruits ability was activated, and he rose into the sky with his broken body, and took the lead to fly to the luxurious palaces not far away. Oh oh oh! The pirates on the giant lion ship responded in unison and disembarked for the banquet one after another. At this moment, a volcanic hot spring island at the edge of the floating sky island group. After exploring in the jungle for a long time, the sweaty little girls took Luolin and took their seats in the hot spring pool at the foot of the volcano. A relaxing hot spring. Robin, Vivi, Nami, Koala, and even the little lowly going Joe. After overcoming their initial shyness, the 5 little girls quietly united and came to Luolin, who was separated by a rock. Brother Rolling, is this asleep? Vivi tilted her little head, and a hint of excited joy appeared on her pretty face. Hands raised. He poked Roland's face. No response. Nami tugged at the corner of Roland's mouth. Still not moving. Seeing this, Robin's beautiful eyes gradually lit up, and the slender hands under the hot spring gradually groped forward. About to be, shoo, at this moment. Roland kept tightly closed, his eyes suddenly opened as if he was asleep. Oh. Wow. All the little girls exclaimed in unison. Rolling, you're awake. Vivi's pretty face flushed, and she quickly hid her naked body underwater. Ha ha ha. Nami snorted in embarrassment. Robin also scolded Isho and hurriedly backed his hands. As for Koala, even in the spring that was already blushing, he didn't dare to show his face. Who is ignorant of the world, still has big innocent eyes, and isn't. Think. Willala, Luolin stood up from the hot spring. Yeah. The exclamations of the little girls resounded in the hot spring pool again. Vivi, Nami, and even Robin raised their hands to cover their eyes subconsciously. 5 fingers spread out and one's eyes fixed. 4. The sight of the little girls. Roland didn't realize it. His eyes were only looking straight in the direction of the central island. The corners of his mouth gradually curved up. It's hard enough trying to do something with you, Shiki. Roland chuckled to himself. Little girls, the time to soak in the hot spring has passed, and we are ready to go. Go. Could it be that Golden Lion is back? Robin raised his eyebrows slightly and stood up straight. Show off your beauty without hesitation. Next is Vivi. Then there's Nami. Koala, who is holding her breath in the water, stood up. Robin takes the lead. The little girls are all imitated. Even if the beauty in their hearts overflowed their cheeks, their delicate bodies trembled slightly unconsciously. But still stubbornly reluctant to fall behind. Because they are close sisters to each other. It is also a competitor. How can it be vague about who is bigger and who is smaller in the future? Looking at the little girls who suddenly confessed, with actions, Luolin couldn't help but frown. Rarely some have big heads. Sometimes, being too good is a headache. If Rayleigh knew what Roland was thinking at this time. Surely he will be the people of Zon again. I'm still standing there and doing whatever I'm doing, put on clothes, don't freeze. Roland said with a stern face. Oh. Who had exhausted all their courage, covered their faces and ran to the Mary. 10 minutes later. On the Going Merry, all 6 people, including Luolin, were all dressed and neatly dressed. Different from the usual casual clothes. This time. Whether it's Vivi or Nami, Koala, or even a little lowly going Joe. Under Luolin's instructions, the little girls all put on handsome trench coats and black silk dresses. Everyone, all in black. Who usually wears a white shirt, put on a black suit outside, as if he was about to go to a banquet. Girls, let's go. Roland grinned Isho. Going Merry soared into the sky. Straight to the central island where Golden Lion Shiki is located. At the same time. Warm Central Island, Banquet Palace. Golden Lion Shiki, with the rudder on his head, sits at the top of the hall like an emperor. Worship from officials from all over the world. In the spacious hall, people of different appearances, clothing, and races exchanged cups, and it was very lively. These all are collaborators that Golden Lion Shiki has recruited from all over the world over the years. All are cruel pirates, relying on the name of the former flying pirates and a new plan. Golden Lion Shiki once again assembled a large number of people to recreate the power of the flying pirate fleet. These are the pirates he recruited from all over the world. Although the individual strength is not high, they are better than the large number of people. Altogether, it is quite a battle force. Ha 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 ha, congratulations to Captain Shiki for returning to the sea. A bald pirate captain raised his glass and laughed. As expected of the boss of Shiki, His Majesty has not diminished. Back then, my admiration for the boss of Shiki was like a surging river. Another pirate captain in a neat suit flattered. Captain Shiki, compared to you, Rayleigh, the king of the underworld, is not worth mentioning at all. I am looking forward to the world knowing your comeback and what a violent reaction it is. Boss Shiki, you really deserve to be the legendary great pirate. We can follow your command, and the future will definitely be bright. Yes, Boss Shiki will definitely lead us to the top of the world. ... From all over the world, who are more powerful than real knives and real guns, are scrambling to slap the rainbow fart of the old lion on the throne. Gia ha ha ha. Listen to the flattery of the pirate captains. Golden Lion Shiki couldn't help but burst out laughing. The words, the beautiful words, made Shiki fluttering like a fairy, as if returning to the glorious days of the past. However, while Golden Lion Shiki was enjoying the wonderful feeling of standing in the clouds, a calm voice suddenly came from outside the temple gate, instantly kicking the Golden Lion Shiki down from the clouds. Chapter 238 The Shock of Golden Lion Shiki. Open black lens bracket 1/5 for subscription close black lens bracket. Dark night. Central Winter Island, snowing heavily. In stark contrast to the warmth and bright lights inside the luxurious palace complex. At this moment, a grand banquet is being held in the luxurious palace of Golden Lion Shiki, a legend from a previous era. Led by Golden Lion Shiki, the great voyages and pirates from all over the world gather here. Talk like a frog in a well. Discuss unrealistic plans for world conquest. Banquet, everyone pushed the cups for a change, and it was very lively. Gia ha ha ha. The highest point of the banquet hall. The old Golden Lion Shiki sat alone on it. Hearing the rainbow farts from the pirates below, an extremely happy expression appeared on his old face. Memory flow. It's like going back to the glorious days of decades ago. The same then as it is now. As the admiral of the flying pirates, he holds a high position. Below are his 54 fleet captains. Exactly the same. Yes. Golden Lion Shiki nodded unconsciously. Compared to before, the number of pirate captains present has more than doubled compared to the past. Gathered such a huge force. Plus those on the island. Powerful mutant creatures. Cho couldn't conquer the world 25 years ago, because of Roger, he failed. This time, who can stop him when he reappears in the sea? He will turn the whole world upside down. Golden Lion Shiki thought with a look of longing. But he selectively ignored the fact that any fleet under his command could slaughter everyone present decades ago. The number is more. However, the quality is not the same. Indigo, you said we will succeed this time. Golden Lion Shiki looked at the flying pirate's doctor partner, who was the only fruit left beside him. Indigo, who had a secret in his heart, took a few steps back in panic. Seeing Indigo's panicked face, Golden Lion Shiki couldn't help frowning. Indigo, there shouldn't be anything wrong on the island during the days I've been away. Golden Lion Shiki asked solemnly. Puff puff, Indigo stepped on a fart-like pace and waved his hands again and again. But the panic on his face could not be concealed. Just kidding. Just one day, the experimental mutants on the island were the fact that most of the casualties. How dare he speak to Shiki now? At least until the banquet is over. Golden Lion Shiki frowned, sensing that something was wrong. Boss Shiki, thousands of generations, I see. Captain Shiki, I'll give you a toast. ... Golden Lion Shiki was about to question. The rainbow farts from his pirate captains interrupted his rational thinking. Bring him back to the cloud. Fluttering like a fairy. Gia ha 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 ha, little ones, wait, it won't be too long. The reputation of the flying pirate fleet will surely resound in this sea again. When I become the king of the world, all of you here are veterans and important officials, and it's not a problem to fisher the territory. This world will belong to us. Gia ha 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 ha. Golden Lion Shiki speaks of a brilliant future with impassioned passion, just like the 36-year-old Rox, the master of the sea. As before, the greedy pirates who heard his ambition burst into cheers like never before. Gia ha ha ha. Golden Lion Shiki laughed wildly. As if he was sitting on the throne of the world now. Just when the Golden Lion Shiki and the pirates who are not in the mainstream are immersed in their own world, complacent, and unable to extricate themselves. Boom, without warning. The island was suddenly shaken. Then, the laughter of the pirates stopped abruptly. After the previous inexplicable shock. This time it was the sound of footsteps. Someone's footsteps. Whose footsteps are in this noisy environment? A person's footsteps should be inaudible. But why is it so clear? It seems to be in their ears and in their minds. At this moment. It's not just ordinary little pirates who have a hellish expression on their faces. Even the legendary flying pirate, Golden Lion Shiki, was shocked. What is it? Just as Golden Lion Shiki frowned and asked. The vermilion gate of the banquet hall opened in the gust of wind. A sarcastic voice poured into the hall along with the snowstorm. It poured into the ears of everyone in the temple. Shiki bastard, I haven't seen you for so many years. You've really opened my eyes. Relying on this gang and some inferior ingredients to conquer the world. Your head is affected by the rudder on your head. It's completely useless. Hear the sarcastic voice. The pirates in the banquet hall were stunned for a moment, and then they all widened their fierce eyes and became furious. Under the spotlight. Dressed in a black suit and white shirt, Luo Lin stepped in first and appeared in the sight of the people in the hall. Snowflakes surround Roland's body like an elf's. Turning with his steps, until it was melted by the heating in the palace. Following Luo Lin, Robin, Vivi and others all followed calmly in various black trench coats, suits and black silk high heels. Even in the face of tens of thousands of vicious pirates. The expressions of the little girls were still calm and relaxed. It is like a blossoming alpine flower on a proud snow-capped mountain. The confidence and temperament that they have developed after following Luo Lin for so many days and seeing countless major events. When Robin, Vivi, Koala, Nami and Going Joe appeared in the hall. The eyes of the pirates also moved accordingly. The ferocity in his eyes was gradually replaced by greed and fiery. The pirates who were not far from the main gate all grinned and got up. I ignored Roland at the front. Like an irrational beast, it walked towards Robin and the others with a greedy face. 30 round flowers, locking the throat. Robin folded his hands in front of him. The flower fruit ability activates. One after another, the arms of flowers appeared out of thin air from the bodies of the pirates, twisting their necks mercilessly. Fishman karate. The other side. Koala, who was wearing black silk over the knee, threw out with one kick. The strong wind pressure hockey, sweeps everything. From start to finish. Roland just looked calmly at the old lion who was teased by fate. Even if it was an enemy, Roland couldn't help but feel sad. High platform 100 meters away. Golden Lion Shiki looked at Roland who came slowly. His old eyes gradually widened. His mouth gradually opened wide. An emotion called shock quickly occupied his old face, occupied his mind, and occupied his whole body. His head, pierced by the rudder, suddenly ached. Blue veins swelled from his forehead, his temples, and his arms. That face. The face that once made him grit his teeth and wake up from a dream at midnight. How could he forget it? "Roran, you bastard didn't die." Finally. The shocking and unbelievable cry of the golden lion Shiki echoed throughout the hall. Chapter 239 Conqueror stuns the audience. Open black lens bracket 2/5 for subscription close black lens bracket. Bastard Rolan, why are you still alive? One of the legends of the previous era, the flying pirate golden lion Shiki, resounded through the hall with a shocking cry. The sound was rumbling and lingering. Listening to the always dignified and stable boss Shiki, the hysterical shock shouted at this moment. The pirates in the banquet hall were collectively stunned. Shocked expressions gradually appeared on the faces of the pirates. "Boss Shiki, what's the matter?" Suddenly, "Captain Shiki is. What is it? What the hell is that guy? To be able to make Boss Shiki like this. Excited. No one has ever heard of Luo Lin, but he's just a kid. Boss Shiki is too exaggerated. Perhaps I once rejected the boss's solicitation, but now I regret it again." The pirates were discussing all of a sudden. Luo Lin. Golden Lion Shiki's only ship doctor partner, Indigo murmured involuntarily. Rolan. Memories of the past flooded his mind like a tide. In the past 20 years, no, maybe earlier. Back to the Roger period. As a newcomer to the Flying Pirates, he has heard this name more than once from the mouth of Golden Lion Shiki and from the mouths of powerful fleet captains. They kept cursing when they were drunk was Luo Lin. How possible? That person should have been dead for decades. Could it be that the mutant experimental animals on the island are also? Thinking of this possibility, Indigo's face suddenly showed extreme horror. Hoo. Golden Lion Shiki couldn't pay attention to the whispers of his subordinates. At this moment, all his attention was locked on Luo Lin, who was 100 meters away. His eyes gradually turned bloody. He was breathing heavily in his mouth. Looking at the black-haired youth who came slowly from outside the gate of the palace. The old face of Golden Lion Shiki was full of shock and disbelief that could not be concealed. Even the firm spirit is shaken at this moment by excessive shock. That look, that hockey's sideways gesture. It all matches up with some unforgettable bastard in Golden Lion Shiki's memory. But how could this be completely unreasonable? That once made him go through countless bastards. That the guy who made him grit his teeth should have been dead for 36 years. Dust to dust, the bones will turn to ashes. 36 years ago, he even held a grand celebration banquet for the death of this guy. Why? How could it appear in front of him again? Golden Lion Shiki with mixed feelings, his eyes were fixed on the dark-haired youth who was walking slowly. He opened his mouth, but couldn't say a word. Shiki, I haven't seen you for decades. You bastard not only did not improve a little bit, but you are living more and more back. As a former enemy, I am very disappointed. There was a faint sarcasm on the corner of Luo Lin's mouth, and he shook his head in disappointment. Because decades ago, Rolan really regarded Shiki as an opponent who needed to be dealt with all his strength. What did you say? Golden Lion Shiki, sitting on the highest seat of the palace, suddenly clapped the table and stood up. The old face occupied by shock gradually burst into anger. Not just because of Roland's current sarcasm. More because of the distant past. Decades ago, what he had experienced. Horrific and unbearable experiences. Like the Golden Lion, there were also a group of pirates in the temple who were furious. It's just for the clamor of the pirates. Roland didn't seem to hear it. From beginning to end, his eyes only fell on Shiki alone. For the pirates he recruited, Luo Lin ignored them. But they are just a group of idiots who are making waves in the paradise, bullying the soft and afraid of the hard. How can you get into his eyes? This is how you disappeared, prepared a plan for 20 years to recruit a group of weak idiots as your subordinates, plus some bugs, and you want to conquer the world. You have been a shrinking tortoise in paradise for 20 years, have you forgotten the threshold of the new world? Roland still walked calmly, with a sarcastic smile on his face. The words uttered were also extremely sarcastic, devaluing the plan that Golden Lion Shaki had prepared for 20 years. But Golden Lion Shaki couldn't even say a word at the moment. The Golden Lion did not speak, and the other pirate captains who were waiting for Shaki to speak finally burst out. In the words of Vice Admiral, Luo Lin said that their existence value is worthless, not even a bug. Is a shame for them who have always been cruel and ruthless. How can they endure, black-haired bastard, from which corner did you come out of the savage to be so arrogant? It's just a kid, it's a big deal, don't you know how to write dead characters, and want us to teach you? Kid, do you know that the lord in front of you is the legendary pirate, the flying pirate Admiral Golden Lion Shaki? Boss Shaki used to be a legendary pirate on the same level as One Piece, King of Pirates Roger and Whitebeard. I can't tolerate your slander. It's so bold, I'm going to cut you into a stick. Looks like he needs training from our pirates. No, forgiveness. Kill him. Kill kill kill. The luxurious banquet palace, more than 100 pirate captains, and nearly 10,000 brutal pirates were excited and murderous. Look, I already said this is a bunch of idiots. Roland shook his head helplessly. Bastard, you dare to take advantage of your words. It's useless even if you regret it now, pay the price for your arrogance. We are the new flying pirate fleet. ... The nearby pirate captains shouted angrily. Each holds the weapon beside him. Killing intently, he attacked Roland on the red carpet. Robin's slender hands folded again. Koala poses in fish man karate. Little lowly going Joe took out her own paint. Even Nami and Vivi are ready to fight. Little girls, it's up to me to come next. Roland spoke calmly. At the same time, take the next step again. A seemingly ordinary step, but an extraordinary, electric spark, burst out. The extremely powerful Conqueror Haki exploded at this moment. Shocked the audience. Chapter 240 Tyrant Territory. The lion vomits blood. Open black lens bracket 3/5 for order close black lens bracket. Boom, the Conqueror surged out of Roland's body like a tidal wave. Exploded with his footsteps falling. The boom rumble, island earth shook violently at this moment. There are purple-black electric snakes flying in the void. That's the true ultimate conqueror. With strong killing intent, the hideous expressions on the faces of the pirates who were the first to touch the ultimate conqueror, without exception, solidified. Under that mighty oppression, their dashing figure came to an abrupt end. Then his eyes turned white. Foaming at the mouth. Bang 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 bang, the next second. Under people's shocked and terrified gazes, the bodies of the dozens of pirates who came to Roland felt like they were hit hard. Dark, as if a mighty force fell on them. Knocked them out. Then fell heavily. Horrible potholes were smashed out one after another on the ground, walls and even the ceiling. Blood splattered. The scene is shocking. Unconsciously creepy. It's said that people gather people according to similar things. After so many years, you who were qualified to be my opponent have become an idiot now. Roland said, and took another step. Represents the ultimate conqueror field expansion. Then hundreds of people fainted without warning. Then the catapult flew upside down, causing the entire banquet hall to vibrate again. This bizarre scene made all the people who were still awake in the hall look terrified, swooning from head to toe, cold air. Haki, this is Conqueror's Haki. The pirate captain, who had seen a similar scene before, cried out in horror. What do you say, this is the one Conqueror Haki in a million people? How is that possible? How holy is this person? I've never heard of such a Conqueror Haki. How can such a young person have such a powerful conqueror? It's just like a monster. Monster. It's a real monster. The intimidation of Conqueror Haki, who controls Roland's exquisite control. All the pirates were still terrified. No more arrogance than before. At this moment, all the pirates are looking at the Golden Lion Shiki on the high platform with their help-like eyes. Hope their boss, the legendary flying pirate, Golden Lion Shiki, can turn the tide and create a miracle. However, they didn't wait for Golden Lion Shiki's shot. Boom, originated from Roland's Conqueror Haki field and filled the audience in an instant. Just a brief moment. On the faces of nearly 10,000 pirates in the banquet hall all solidified. The whole place fell into a dead silence. At the end, I can still stand, except Luo Lin and his party. Golden Lion Shiki on the high platform and Indigo, the ship doctor. Indigo, the ship's doctor dressed as a clown, stared at him with wide eyes and swallowed hard. Not to mention the pirate captains. Even he who has followed the Golden Lion Shiki through the Roger era and the entire Great Pirate era has never seen such a terrifying Conqueror Haki. Besides, is that still Conqueror's Haki? He has never seen anyone's Conqueror capable of producing such a terrifying substantial attack effect. No. Don't say you've seen it. Never heard of it. This man who once made Captain Shiki and his teammates gritted their teeth and cursed, was so terrifying. Hoo. The sound of gasping for breath sounded from the high platform. Not just for Indigo. Also belongs to Golden Lion Shiki. At this moment, even the legendary Golden Lion Shiki from the previous era was deeply shocked by the extremely powerful conqueror revealed by Roland. In his long life, he's only ever seen on One Piece King of Pirates Roger at his peak. No, even Roger. Compared to the man standing in front of him now. It's also far inferior. The Battle of Atwater 25 years ago. For his defeat was because of the sudden storm. Yet few people know it. It was the Conqueror Haki of One Piece King of Pirates Roger who really caused that terrifying storm, so powerful that even nature could control it. That's the frontier, the tyrant's territory, if it weren't for Roger's sudden awakening and burst of power that was enough to dominate nature. How could he be defeated? Even if it was the violent storm of the New World, how could he have lost his flying fleet after so many years? Golden Lion Shiki saw once again the power that once made him desperate. And compared to Roger's initial awakening burst, what Luo Lin showed at the moment was already completely round and complete. Why? Golden Lion Shiki's lips trembled. Why it's always you? Why luck belongs to you guys? Why can't it be me? Golden Lion Shiki is like crazy. Hysterical shouting and drinking. It's so ugly, Shiki bastard. Roland stopped drinking. Footsteps fall. Next second. Territory, that was originally dead still like stagnant water suddenly fluctuated and revolved. Crash la la. A dark frontier storm blew up between the sky and the earth. With an unparalleled powerful momentum, he rose into the sky. Under the storm, the bodies of the pirates who fell under the shock of Haki all rose into the air. Dancing in the sky. The sturdy load-bearing beams of the magnificent banquet hall of Ka appeared with large cracks crisscrossing each other. Finally, it exploded. Boom boom boom, the hall and even the whole island made a violent roar and tremor. Ultimately, with a rumbling sound, the vast banquet hall collapsed suddenly. The entire palace complex with the Golden Lion Shiki collapsed by more than half. What a legend, what a flying pirate. Rollins sneered. Golden Lion, now you are just an old lion with no hair and no teeth, struggling to the death, a loser who dreams of conquering the world. Heartbreaking words. Luo Lin's remarks completely tore off the pretense of Golden Lion's self-deception and deception. The most real side of him now. Red guago, bloody exposure. Cough cough. Golden Lion Shiki's old face suddenly paled. After a while, a rosy flush appeared on his pale face. PFF'd, finally turned into a mouthful of blood and sprayed out.